Happy Sunday, everyone. Good morning. Here we are again, another crazy day and another crazy week. And man, alive, this country's in weird. It's a weird time, guys. Interesting time to be alive, right? A lot of things going on. Hard to stay, hard to stay focused on one thing because when you wake up in the morning, it's like a whole another slew of things that you need to talk about. So today we want to focus on. I thought it'd be fun to talk about Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was a great president and interesting man. Made it on Mount Rushmore, which is pretty cool. And our current president is just chomping at the bit to get onto Mount Rushmore. And again, three-time Trump voter. I believe this guy could have been on Mount Rushmore, but he basically forsook everything that he ran on, right? Like, which is wild. I don't know that a president in modern time has done that. I'm not sure that that's happened. Anyway, put in the comments if you guys think that there is another president that done it. Because I think Obama was pretty good. I think that Clinton ran or did what he said he was going to do. Bush did what he said he was going to do. Except of course, he had the whole Iraq conflict he had to go deal with. But I think even Biden did what he said he was going to do. So I don't know if that's the norm, and now we have like a complete different situation. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to talk about Theodore Roosevelt a little bit. We're going to talk about trust busting, right? I want to talk about breaking up large corporations. So I got a whole bunch of data for you guys on the major large corporations in many of the important industries that we have. And I was talking about the military-industrial complex a lot yesterday, and I actually didn't get the military-industrial complex in this list, so we might have to go through it line item by line item just from memory. But anyway, point is that we're going to talk about breaking up corporations because this is one of the things that's going to have to happen at some point if we want to create more businesses and more jobs here in America. Because the truth is that when large corporations are allowed to continue to acquire power year after year after year, decade after decade after decade, what they do is they gobble up their competition, right? And every time a business gobbles up its competition, it pretty much lays off everyone, right? It's not like those people are assimilated into the company and then they get to, go on and prosper, get better jobs, get better wages, more pay. No, generally what happens is a lot of the profit, a lot of the higher wages, a lot of the benefits, essentially, they all kind of migrate to the top, right? And any opportunity a large corporation gets to move the manufacturing to the third world, that's what they'll do. Or if they can bring the third world into America, they'll do that. And again, the blue-collar person is kind of pushed off to the side, and the white-collar person gets to, aggregate a lot of those benefits. And again, there's not that many people in a large corporation that are blue collar when you compare, white collar, right? So everyone tells you, like, go to college, get out of the blue collar job, don't work with your hands, go get a degree, you're going to be in an office, it's going to be great. What they don't tell you is that as those corporations grow and grow and grow over the years, there's actually less and less white collar work at those places. They start to develop things called synergies. They start to develop a lot of vendor networks. And what ends up happening is that, again, the benefits aggregate to the top and to the shareholders. And then the the blue collar person is left to go, fend to themselves, go drive Uber, go drive, or go to work for Amazon, and you're kind of left with not the shit jobs necessarily, but you're left with the more generic, easygoing jobs that actually have an insane amount of competition because they sent all the good jobs to the third world. And if you don't want to work the good jobs that are left at the prices they want to pay, they bring the third world in here. So you guys know my spiel. I don't need to go into that too much right now. But anyway, so we got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of companies in America that actually need to be broken up. There's a lot of companies in America that need to have a little bit more competition, and with competition comes lower prices, right? So one of the fallacies, I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure that I kind of said it right. One of the things that we hear a lot of is, larger corporations lead to lower prices, right? You always got to hear this thing, the consolidation of the industry is great because, again, the synergies of Spirit Airlines and Delta Airlines is going to lead to lower ticket prices for everyone. And there is an element of truth in that. Like, there absolutely is. So, guys, give me just a second. We'll dig into comments. Get your comments in real quick. I'm going to say my little spiel here. I'll say hi to guys in the comments, and then we're going to dig into Theodore Roosevelt. We're going to talk about trust busting. Before we talk about anything, though, I want to make sure that we cover Badia Unger Sager's piece about YouTube. So YouTube got called out specifically. Casts like this got called out specifically. So I want to talk to you guys about that real quick. And then we got to talk about Trump and his threatening to bomb the power stations over there in Iran. We'll talk about that for a minute. And like I said, topic of the day is Theodore Roosevelt. But again, you wake up and it's just like just a shitstorm of news that you got to kind of talk about a little bit. And I never thought of this cast as being like a news thing in the morning, but it kind of turns out that that's kind of what we end up doing it to a certain degree. But anyway, so let me read this to you real quick. So again, the larger corporations lead to lower prices through synergies, right? So again, everyone's always told, you want these larger corporations. They are able to scale, right? The big key word, if you guys listen to the rich bros, like the masterclass bros, they're always telling you guys, oh, you got to follow my 10 steps to getting rich, and one of the ways you do it is by scaling and by hyperscaling, and they want you to believe that by outsourcing and white labeling products, bring them back in here to America, you can get rich. They want to tell you things like create digital products. Like if you're a furniture maker like me, well, you want to create drawings, right? You want to create a video on how to make a piece of furniture, and then you want to create the drawing. And guess what? You want to sell that drawing to 1 million people, because 1 million people are going to watch the video, and you're going to get rich by creating that drawing one time and selling it to 1 million people, right? This is where we start to get into the subscription economy, which is kind of where the economy has moved, if you guys haven't noticed. Anything that requires a physical nature, wildly expensive. Anything that is subscription-based or anything that requires a digital product is incredibly cheap, right? And this is because you have large corporations, and too many large corporations are controlling all of this stuff. So anyway, large corporations lead to lower prices through synergies. Okay, that's the fallacy. It always works in the very beginning, right? But what happens is over a longer time horizon, what happens is when the consolidation of these industries grabs hold, what ends up happening is the industry, hear me out here, gets to raise prices. What's the word I'm looking for? They get to raise prices, I guess, a little bit faster than they would otherwise get to raise prices, because they control the bulk of the market, right? And as more and more of these companies become consolidated, they start to kind of work together. So when one conglomerate sees what another conglomerate is doing, it's easy for them to just raise their prices as well, because there's not much competition, right? Whereas a business like mine, if I was in the furniture industry and I see that everyone else is raising their prices, well, I'm going to try and figure out a way to keep my prices stable. That way I can get more swings at the sales. But when, again, everyone agrees to kind of move prices, you end up with, a situation where there could be a little bit of collusion, right? But it's not really coordinated collusion. It's just a couple of people watching what the other couple of people are doing, and the prices naturally rise together. Anyway, it's very easy to understand. Okay, so here's the truth. The truth is that more competitors leads to lower prices, right? Because again, very difficult for a conglomerate to just raise their prices, see what their buddy in the other conglomerate's doing, and raise their prices when you have 100 companies, right? Because again, as business owners, we understand that, hey, we want to get more swings. And this is one of the reasons, guys, that things like tariffs allowed my business to really accelerate. Because again, when you make the third world more expensive and we keep our prices exactly the same, it allows us to take more swings. We're not going to get every sale, but it allows us to get more swings. So more people are willing to look at our business, and then guess what happens? Your business becomes one of those businesses that everyone looks at just to see what you're doing, right? What kind of products are available? Oh, well, I didn't look at Eric before because he's wildly expensive. But since Restoration Hardware has a 42% tariff, right, on their products, well, hey, let's look at Eric, right? And then this snowballs into any other business that wants to be in the furniture sector. So the furniture sector. So again, competition is wildly important, and we have the least amount of competition in America that we've ever had. Like there's no time in American history where there's been less competition within the various industries. I mean, this is one of the reasons, like, everyone uses DoorDash, everyone uses Instacart, everyone uses Amazon, everyone goes to Walmart, right? It's because these businesses have been around for so long, and they have crushed their competition by not only buying it, but increasing regulations. Anyone's followed me for a long time, I'm one of these guys, I talk about regulations constantly because it's one of the most expensive things about owning a business, right? Large corporations actually want more regulation because it makes it harder for the people that are coming up to then start businesses, right? And again, everyone suffers. The consumer suffers through higher prices, through lack of choices, through lack of innovation. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. So anyway, okay. Let's say hi to everyone real quick. Then we're going to dig into Badia Unger Sagar calling us out on YouTube, right? So you guys are a part of this problem, by the way. Again, she was talking to that Ben Shapiro, talking to that guy. And then when you talk about Trump and his frickin', he's going to bomb power stations. That's amazing. So, okay, let's dig it. Okay, looks like we got a spammer in here. So that's fantastic. Spammer, enjoy your spam time, because as soon as the moderators get up here and come in here, they're gonna knock you guys out. So. Okay, who's in here? We got Grim Rotten 32.99. Wait, are you trying to say that monopolies are a bad thing? I know. Oh my God, shocker, right? I'm not giving you any new information there. Okay, Scooter to Cool 173. Leg Lamp Sauce. Yep, thanks, dude. I love Christmas. I love that particular time of year. It's super nostalgic. I love the music. I love the smells. I love the decorations. I love the movies. I love it all. So. Yeah, love the leg up. All right, let's see, Samson. Let's see, Mr. Good morning. Would you like to volunteer for a government research program? No, Samson. No one wants to volunteer for that shit. Okay, the one and only Nicole. Great name. All right. Are you Lex Luthor? No, my God, I've never heard that one before. Okay, Suit Smiles. I love your Italian lamp, by the way. That's right, it's Fragile, man. All right, Matt Review, STWO, Lex Luthor. All right, cool, man. Okay, let's see here. As we get through most of the comments here, let's see, spam, spam, spam. Would you license a bowling ball that looks like your head? Okay, well, again, enjoy your comments, guys. Can't wait. This is fantastic. Okay, let's see. We got Kay Moravec's in here. Kay, good to see you. We got, let's see, Sean Way, S1Q. So, hi, good morning to see you. All right, here we go. So, people are pissed off at YouTubers, right? People are pissed off at people on the internet. People are pissed off at people on X. So let's see what she says here. So what Badi is saying is, she says that the Iran war has nuked the fiction that the right-wing podcasters and YouTube personalities and content creators who turned against Trump would wield any power, right? So this is what she says. She's basically saying that the people that got Donald Trump elected, which are the people on X, the streamers, right, and the YouTube content creators, these are the people that thought they had some kind of power, right? This is one of the reasons they're calling us. And when they call you out, guys, that means that it's working, right? That means that the fervor is building in the online community for what Donald Trump has done, which is basically forsaken his voters, right? Anyone that allowed this guy to get voted. This is one of the reasons Donald Trump went on Theo Vaughn. Donald Trump went on Aiden Ross. Donald Trump does Tucker Carlson. You know, Donald Trump did, what are some of the other ones he did? I'm trying to think about, did Joe Rogan, right? All these people, he's turned against all of them, right? And again, if you guys have noticed what Trump's been doing as a president, is he's literally turning against everyone that disagrees with him. And this is a common trait with this guy, which again, wasn't a problem in his last administration, but it's clearly a problem in this administration. And one of the things you guys need to remember is like Donald Trump didn't rehire anyone from his previous administration, right? Because he basically screwed over everyone, or he threw them under the bus, which Trump likes to do. Maybe they weren't loyal enough, and so he had to hire all new people, right? So all the people that he hired now, they're basically using Trump to build up their political career. They all know his playbook. They know all they got to do is suck his dick, and basically he's gonna be like, oh my God, you guys need to be around me. You're my favorite kind of people. And anyone that pushes back against him, he throws them under the bus. The problem is that like YouTubers and people on X, the people that got this guy elected, we're not in his orbit, right? So he can't just cast us out. Like we just keep talking because again, this thing is building. The thing on YouTube, the thing on X, you're seeing the algorithm on X is starting to push against Donald Trump in a very meaningful way. So anyway, what this chick is saying is it's just insane, you know. And again, let's look the top YouTubers, guys. So the people that she says has no influence, the people that this woman and Ben Shapiro are saying wield no power, as she puts it. So the number one podcaster in America is Joe Rogan, who's completely turned against Donald Trump. So, I mean, how long till Donald Trump goes, oh my God, Joe Rogan's such a loser. You know, oh, like Donald Trump, you know, he's so low quality. No one listens to him. He's outdated. You know, again, this is what this guy will do, okay? The number two podcast, Theo Vaughn this past weekend, okay? Theo Vaughn just came out and said, you know what? What Israel did in Gaza was essentially a genocide. You know, what Israel did in Gaza was wrong. Israel's not a great country, and they got major problems over there. The people are turning against and should turn against this country. You know, and again, this is our greatest ally, right? So basically, the people in the podcasting world are realizing that Israel might actually be the villain in the Middle East. You know, and again, not a popular take to have, but this state is not as honest and forthcoming as they should otherwise be if you're going to be an ally to the greatest country that's probably ever existed in civilization, okay? Number four podcast in America, Sean Ryan. You remember how much Sean Ryan and Donald Trump loved each other, right? Now, again, these guys are irrelevant. They wield no power. Number five podcast in America, Tucker Carlson show, okay? Again, Tucker Carlson, who I think is probably going to be running for president, if I'm being completely honest. He might be the guy that we need. But again, pushing back against Tucker Carlson now. It's like, again, anybody that pushes back against Trump, he just throws you to the side. Okay, that's not the sign of a friend. Your friends are the people that back you when you're in hard times, right? They back you when you're fucking up, right? Men especially know that. We all have a good friend who can tell us like, hey, dude, like this shit ain't right. Like you need to rethink what you're doing. You need to back the fuck up and you need to reevaluate what's going on here, you know? And Trump doesn't have that because everybody wants something from him because Trump has no real friends. Trump only has people that are loyal to him, right? These aren't friends. Trump is not loyal to anybody, but the people that are loyal to him, he's willing to entertain you and blow smoke up your ass and give you access to power. But at the end of the day, it all is Trump's. And so anyway, I thought this was an interesting thing that this woman was saying. And again, you can just tell when these people are, they're Israel first people. And again, there's nothing wrong with being Jewish and supporting the state of Israel. There's nothing, in fact, that's great. I think it's a fantastic thing. But again, just like I'm going to call out America, I'm going to call it what we're doing. You need these people that are so, that just love Israel. They need to be willing to call this place out and say, look, this country's fucking up. These guys are not doing what they need to do. Things A, B, and C, and D are wrong. They need to backtrack or whatever. They need to start a coalition. They need to find more allies, right? They don't do that. It's just this country can do no wrong. And there's no situation in the world where that is an accurate depiction of anything. There's always nuance and everything. But yeah, anyway, so I thought I'd point that out to you. This chick is she's actually very influential on X. I do like listening to her, but when it comes to the topic of Israel, like a lot of these people, I just can't listen to them because they're not objective anymore. Again, Israel could nuke the Middle East and they just be like, yeah, amazing. Like, this is fantastic. This is what, all roads lead to nukes. And now we can start the Greater Israel Project. And this is going to be good for the Jewish population. And, they should have nuked these people decades ago. And it's the bad deal. And again, if you guys notice, like the nuclear conversations have started to kind of perk up a little bit. Like, that's not good, guys, So anyway, I thought I'd talk about that real quick. Now we need to talk about Trump real quick, and then we'll get into talking about Theodore Roosevelt and breaking up the large corporations we have. Like obviously Google's a big one. Amazon's a big one. Microsoft, again, probably needs to be broken up. But anyway, yeah, if you guys are in the stream, hit the like button, add a discussion. We try, and I give you guys a couple hours on the weekends and most mornings, and we try and we want to get things up to 50 likes. We want to get subscribers out of this channel if you guys like this kind of content. My name's Eric Wilkin. I own The Resplendent Crow, and I always got to remember to say that slow. I'm not trying to sell you guys nothing. I don't sell you courses. I don't tell you how to get rich. I don't tell you, the key to the world. I'm just a guy, never graduated high school, got really good at making furniture, started a small business here in St. Louis. Now we got 9 employees. We do a low 7 figures. We run about 500 pieces a year, and we send furniture all over America. I've sent it literally all over the world. It's a great little middle-class living. That's where I come from. That's my perspective. I think that's why people like these streams. When the experts try and talk to you guys about how tariffs work, I actually own a business that imports and exports hardware from India, right? My wife is from India. We have 2 manufacturing facilities over there. So again, when you want to know how tariffs really work, you want to know what it costs to import and export from countries, how tariffs really work, what it's like to try and bring product into America and work with countries in the third world to develop products, I do it. Okay, I'm not a theoretical guy. I'm a practical guy. And that's the thing about being uneducated. You got to work really hard. You got to go to the school of hard knocks because the theoretical world doesn't really work for us. We don't understand it. So we got to go out there and just beat our head against the floor and beat our head against the wall until we kind of figure out what's going on. So anyway, that's my perspective. If you guys are in the stream, you like that kind of content, hit the like button and subscribe and add to the discussion, man. So I really appreciate everyone being here this morning. Okay. So I wake up this morning, right? And again, I guess I saw it last night. I didn't think about it much. But Trump says he's basically gonna bomb the power stations in Iran now, right? Now the thing about Donald Trump is he basically is like a child. He's just like, it's not fair. I don't know why this Iran isn't. Why aren't they capitulating? Why aren't they giving in to me? I sent my Navy. I sent all my Marines. I've knocked out this and I've knocked out that and I've been and he's just like, it's not fair. And he's like a little baby just crying about the fact that he's done thing A, B, C, and D, and they're not responding. They're just like, well, I'm sorry, Trump, your Navy's so amazing. Like, oh my God, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I know you shot, 100 missiles into my country, but I don't know what you want me to do. Like, Trump's just, he's not getting what he's wanting, and it's driving him insane. He keeps saying, oh, we destroyed everything. They got no missiles left. They got nothing there. They got no Navy. They got no Army. They got no nothing. And he's like, we're the greatest country that's ever existed. And then they start blowing up. Israel. They're shooting missiles, at everything. Like, they're shooting more missiles now than they were shooting at the beginning of the conflict. And every time Trump says something, it is a lie. He is lying out of his ass. And again, as a guy that voted for Trump 3 times, like, I'm okay with that. Like, I understand Trump's hyperbole. I know it's a bombastic nature. He's always trying to sell something. I can read between the lines of what he's saying. But what I'm seeing Trump doing now is Trump is getting aggravated because the rest of the world is starting to now make fun of him, right? They're not making fun of America. They're making fun of Donald Trump, So when Donald Trump goes and says, well, you know what, NATO? You owe us. We're the only reason you guys have a defense right now. It's because of America. NATO is America. You owe us. And he starts pulling this out after he fucks up the Strait of Hormuz, right? After the world like goes into chaos because again, 20% of the oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and he just conveniently seemed to not understand this fact. Now that he's fucked everything up, he's like, it's your guys' fault. You need to come in here and fix this. And everyone's like, no, dude, like you made your fucking bed. You're gonna lay in it now. Enjoy, and we're just gonna kick back and watch you try and unfuck this situation. And it's hilarious. Like from a human standpoint, like again, this guy is such a child. Like he refuses to man up and say, yeah, I did this. He refuses to be a leader and say, yeah, we fucked up. We need to pull back. We need to, fix the situation. We need to go over there to Benjamin Netanyahu and basically bitch slap this guy and say, look, you little fucking punk. Like the only reason you exist is because of America. If you don't knock this shit off, you know what? We're going to pull back. And you know what? The Middle East is probably going to come for you guys. So you better knock it off. Trump doesn't want to do that. And again, and the people on X, they conveniently forget that they're super happy to say that America is the only reason Europe exists, but they're never willing to say that the only reason Israel exists is because America's been behind them the whole time, going, don't do it, don't do it. And again, it's wild hypocrisy from the media. It's wild hypocrisy from people like Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, all these guys. It's insane. And do you guys see this stuff? I know we got a lot of comments coming in, guys. I'm going to get to the comments in just a second. But let me know, do you guys see the hypocrisy, or has everyone just bought into all this bullshit that we're seeing? Like, I can't imagine that our country is unaware of what a child our president is and what a fucking baby he is, like how he's acting. No man would act this way. I don't know where he gets this enthusiasm to be so obtuse about what is really happening and how he creates these problems. Like, does his Secretary of State not go to him and like, look, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, does J.D. Vance like not talk to Trump and say, hey, man, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, does he not have anyone in his orbit to like tell him the truth? Or is everyone just like, you're amazing, Trump. Oh yeah, this is so good. Like, is that really what's going on? Like, I can't wrap my head around the fact that that's really what's going on. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm the guy that like, maybe I'm missing something. Put in the comments, guys. Let me know what I'm missing. So anyway, last thing I'll say is we're going to talk about Ted Cruz for a second. It's something that he said real quick, and then let's dig into comments. And then we'll start talking about trust busting. We're going to talk about breaking up some of these companies. We're going to talk about Theodore Roosevelt and how Theodore Roosevelt might have actually been the greatest president of all time. If you just look at the broad swath of his work, I think it's better than George Washington. I think it's more important than Abraham Lincoln, right? I think his body work is very compelling, So we'll go over and you guys can let me know whether I'm right or I'm wrong. But I wanted to, let's see if I can find this. I may not even have it here anymore. Okay, here we go. So, hey, this is another thing, guys. Again, put in the comments. Let me know if you guys agree with me, disagree with me. But it doesn't seem like everything in this world is binary, right? So it's like if you don't like what's happening in Iran, well, that means that you support Iran and you don't support America, or you don't support Israel, right? If you don't like what's happening in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, right, you support Israel, right? These guys are so infantile when they make these arguments, and I don't know, like most people buy this shit because I think that those days have passed. I think we can all kind of see what's happening in the world thanks to sites like X and YouTube and TikTok. I think that people kind of understand the lies and the projection that's gone on, by these politicians. So he says now Tucker Carlson. This is Ted Cruz, guys. This is senator from the state of Texas. Israeli zealot, right? This guy literally should just move to Israel because he doesn't fucking care about America or the state of Texas. All right, now Tucker Carlson is openly rooting for China, Russia to supplant America, right? Like Mondani, his anti-socialism or his anti-Semitism is leading directly to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism. Okay, now what Tucker Carlson's actually saying is he's saying that we probably could get along with places like China. We probably could get along with places like Russia because, again, like suddenly we're talking about, oh, it's okay, we're going to get along with Cuba now. Cuba's not so bad, but places like Russia and China, oh, God, don't even dare. Like, if you support Russia or you think that we should get along with Russia, that means that you hate America. You're moving towards communism. You're moving towards socialism. It's very, like, I don't know if the words maybe trite, you know, it's like we have to see this stuff, guys. Like, please tell me you understand what these guys are doing. And again, when you criticize the state of Israel, all these guys, it's immediate anti-Semitism. And this is what's been happening, probably since World War II, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Like, this whole anti-Semitism thing, like, there's not a lot of anti-Semitic people in America. Anti-Semitism is not a big thing in this country. But again, if you follow the socials, if you follow the senators, you follow the people that rely on AIPAC money, everything to them is anti-Semitism. And I honestly think that is something that we've pushed in our colleges. Ever since we started sending everyone to school, they filled everyone's heads with this bullshit. And this idea that, again, if you push back against the state of Israel, you hate Jews. Or if you push back against the state of Israel, it's anti-Semitism. Like, it's like I said, it's really played out and tiring. And I think that most people are seeing what's going on here. I hope you guys are seeing this. And again, if you like this kind of content, if you like real conversations, talking about real issues, hit the like button. And again, add a discussion. Let's dig into things. I don't know if we got moderators in here yet, but as soon as the moderators come in here, guys, like, again, get rid of any spammers and get rid of any, low rent comments. And we're going to stick to the good stuff, guys. We want the meat. All right. So, man, we got a lot of comments in here. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everyone participating this morning. Okay. Where are we at here? All right. Let's see here. We'll start with you. Chosen Law. Chosen Law is here. Good to see you, dude. Okay. Oh, actually, Samson says, you talk so fast. I know, I talk fast. Normally, guys, I talk very slow. But when I get on YouTube, I literally go into character mode, and I talk fast. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm trying to slow down a little bit. People have told me, and I'm working on it. So, all right, Chosen Law says, Pangea will reverse, and then we will all look silly for... I don't know what Pangea is. You have to fill me in there, Chosen Law. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll look silly for wars. Yeah, again, the whole war thing is just, it's unnecessary. Like, in the times that we live today, I mean, wildly unnecessary. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, I know there's some high-quality content for you guys. Living life one at a time. At time, 6, 5, 7. Okay, Starbucks wants you to cease using their logo in any of your meta videos. Yeah, again... And they can fuck off. Like, again, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I'm one of the OG Starbucks people. I love Starbucks coffee. I drink it all the time. But say what you will about Howard Schultz, but again, where's Howard Schultz going? Is Howard Schultz, you guys read this lately? Howard Schultz is moving to Miami, where all the wealthy people are moving, right? Miami and Florida. Florida's going to be the first state that is going to push back against the federal government, guys. So Florida is eliminating property taxes, which, if that doesn't sweep across the entire country, will be a travesty. Florida is probably going to be the first state that is going to say to the federal government, you know what, our citizens aren't paying taxes anymore. They're not paying taxes to you guys because you're not spending our state's money well. You're wasting their money, and we want that money to stay here. I think that's fast approaching. Again, you guys think I'm crazy? Put in the comments if you have a better idea, but I've told you guys many times, the only way to fix what's going on in the federal government today is to do a tax revolt, and it's very difficult to do a tax revolt. If you had 30 million people a year that just sent in their taxes blank, you might get some of that going on. You might create enough of a kerfuffle at the IRS and in the federal government to elicit a change, but I don't think so. I think we need one state that's willing to push back, and again, I lose people when I start talking this way, but I think that's what's coming. I think that America is just tired. They're tired of the gaslighting from people like Ted Cruz, people like this Badia Unger Sagar. Like, they're just tired. We all see through the bullshit. And again, we all see that every one of our tax dollars is being wasted at this point, guys. It all goes to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and that's it. And again, the average taxpayer gets nothing. Absolutely nothing, And again, the average taxpayer shouldn't even want anything from the federal government, if I'm being completely honest. Remember when I did that cast, like a week ago, where I asked people, like, hey, what will you take less of? And almost nobody had anything. Nobody was willing to put in a comment and say, yeah, I'll pay more in taxes, or I'll take less in benefits, or, maybe everyone just takes less gets to keep more of their money. Maybe I'll take less Social Security, maybe I'll take less Medicaid, maybe I'll take less subsidies on health insurance, maybe I'll take less. Hardly anybody had anything to say, which is very telling. That's literally the problem, guys. It's very difficult to push back on the people that are getting shit from the federal government, whether it's tax cuts as a large corporation or Section 8 if you're a poor person. It's frustrating. So, okay. Marvo 6913. Creative. All right, we got Larry in here. Who the fuck are you? What would you do? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. Again, told you guys who it was. Tell you guys what I do. Again, I come on here every day. If you guys don't know who I am, if you're new to the channel, again, my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow. We are a fine furniture boutique company. I'm not some guy on YouTube building furniture in my garage, telling you guys how to become a woodworker and buy my course. And here's some drawings for all the stuff I built. Buy my T-shirts. I don't do any of that. I own a real business. We got 9 employees. We make real furniture. We make about 500 pieces a year. We send it all over the country and all over the world, in fact. And it's a great little middle-class living. It's tough. You're never going to get rich doing it probably because it's almost impossible to scale without doing what all the other furniture makers do, which is make their shit in China and Vietnam. So I talk a lot about capitalism. I talk a lot about tariffs. I talk a lot about taxes. I talk a lot about how to grow businesses, how to bring the blue-collar work back to America, how to change our economy from this service white-collar fucking utopia that doesn't exist to a blue-collar, more working hands, almost agrarian type of world by getting the third world out of here and then getting the third world that makes all of our shit to no longer make all of our shit. We start to make things here in America. We give real Americans real wages. We force the corporations and the people that don't want to use American workers to use American workers by kicking out the third worlders and cutting off the third world through 400% tariffs, right? So again, and all the businesses that say they're going to leave, where are you going to go? Well, you want to go to Singapore? Well, good. Your product, you can bring it into America, 400% tariff. You might as well just stay here, So anyway, I'm one of these guys, and again, people like this content. People like to hear information from real people that do real shit. They're tired of talking heads. Again, someone like a Tucker Carlson who's literally talked for his entire life. I like the dude, but again, he doesn't know how the real world works because he doesn't operate in it, And again, all your talking heads on Fox News, your Sean Hannity's, your whatever, Martha McCallum, all these people, they don't live in the real world, okay? Again, I own a real business. I employ real people. I do real shit. And so my perspective is wildly different. I think that's what more people want, So, all right, calm down, Larry. All right, thanks, dude. We got Paulus deceased, blah, 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 weirdo. All right, cool. We got King Alfred. Jewish are most discriminated people in all of history. Yeah, well, you continue to believe that shit there. They're overrepresented in every industry in America, So I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Hellfire 0204. Most people don't know when Israel was even conceived. I know you guys want to go all the way back to the what was it, 2,500 years ago? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about 1948? It's like you got to kind of pick or choose, And again, kind of odd that the people of Israel would want to go to the place where they're absolutely the most hated. But no, whatever, man. They can do whatever they want. I got no problems with that. All right, Austin Montgomery, 8908. Tim Pool, IRL is us. I love Tim Pool. Again, I'm a big Tim Pool fan. If you guys don't know this, Tim Pool actually builds skateboards here in America, right? He did a great talk about building skateboards in China versus building skateboards here in America. And again, building a skateboard in America is more expensive, but it's not that bad, guys. It's going to be like 50% more expensive. And here's the thing. When you have people that work in American businesses making American products that then sell to other Americans, guess what? You make American wages. Like everyone thinks that, oh my God, well, I have to have the third worlders come in here to build my homes because I can't afford homes anyway, right? Or I got to have my shit made in China because again, if it's not made in China, it's going to be too expensive and I can't afford to make it. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you break up a lot of these mega corporations that allow all this stuff to happen, guess what? There's more businesses. There's more businesses that need people to make stuff. If you put a 400% tariff on the shit that's made in the third world, let the material come in here at no tariff, but all the manufacturing get way tariff. You're going to get massive retribution throughout the entire world, right? And America is basically going to learn to operate on its own for the most part for a couple of years while the rest of the world gets crushed. And people don't understand this when you put a tariff on another country, they want to retaliate, right? Well, the truth is that a lot of these other countries, they can't exist without America's market. And I don't hear enough people talk about the fact that America's market is the most valuable market the world has ever known. We pay 30 to 50% more for everything, and we buy more of it, which is why everyone wants to be here. So the tariff retribution thing is a little bit of a fallacy. There would be, if you put a 4% tariff on China, China will retaliate with its own tariff, right? But again, you make more stuff here in America, you pay more Americans to use American workers, right? You kick out the third world, you lower the regulations, you kick out the shit that's made in the third world, and guess what? You will get more competition. And you couple that with something called trust busting or the breaking up of monopolies, and again, more businesses, more innovation, more work for everyone. So anyway, it's the thing I talk about. It's big deal for me. But man, I love Tim Pool. Tim Pool is a cool dude. All right, Leveler T3P, we're finally getting their heads out of the sand. Yeah, maybe, man. All right, King Alfred, me, Israel are God's chosen. Okay, well, that's cool, man. And again, everyone can have their views. I got no problems with that view. If Israel wants to be, the chosen people, and they want to be in the place where everyone hates them, great. If they can keep it, they can have it. But it's not my job to help them keep it, right? I liberated these people, 70 years ago. I'm not going to liberate them every day for the rest of their existence. Like, eventually, they got to stand on their own 2 feet. And it's easy to talk shit, and it's easy to go bomb your neighbors when you have someone like America around you. What people don't understand about Israel is tiny. Size of New Jersey, guys. A very tiny country, and they don't have very many people. And guess what? They don't have any resources. They don't make anything. They got pharmaceuticals, and they got some technology. What they export is terrorism. What they export is death. And apparently that's good for America because we essentially pay for it. And again, if they want to exist as a country, great. You got to keep it though. And that unfortunately that's the world. The world has a pecking order. And Israel is the one country that gets to fuck with all of its neighbors, and it gets to destabilize an entire region when they're essentially an insignificant country. And it's only because America's always behind them, waving our big stick. And again, Theodore Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick. That's how America operates. This country wants to operate the same way, except that they don't have the space, right? They don't have the military. They don't have anything except America, So anyway, it's no shade on Israel, but again, I don't like it when people punch above their weight because they got Big Brother behind them. Those people are never fun to deal with. Eventually those people, they need to get the shit beat out of them a couple of times before they stop that. And again, it's just never happened to them. So all right, do why cat credit? I don't even know what the hell that word is, man. Okay, see if you like it or not. You can change fact, choose, or chosen by God. That's cool, man. That's great. And again, it sounds like they're going to win in the end, and good for them, okay? They'll bring heaven on earth and peace to all. Okay, well, they don't seem to like peace at all. In fact, all they do is destabilize they're involved in almost every country that's been destabilized in the Middle East, guys. Like, I don't know, and again, this isn't an anti-Israel thing. This is just a facts, okay? It's not like Syria imploded on its own. It's not like, we went into Iraq with our own intelligence. We used Israel's intelligence. Like, Israel's a very conniving country, and anyway, good for them. Like, maybe they'll end up, conquering everything, and that'll be great. Okay, Trump 28, are you triggered? Yeah, no, I'm not triggered, man. I'm just disappointed as someone who voted for Trump 3 times and supported this guy, again, since he started running. I thought he'd be a fantastic president because I like his business acumen. I like his, his tough guy attitude. But again, being a tough guy and being a leader means that you're willing to have a little bit of introspection. You're willing to analyze what works and what really doesn't work. The problem with Trump is a megalomaniac. And I didn't see this before. But Trump, what megalomaniacs do is they will literally bend reality to create a new reality. They will create problems where there are no problems, right? So what Trump's trying to do right now is he's literally trying to do what George Washington had to do and what Abraham Lincoln had to do, right? Abraham Lincoln didn't ask for the Civil War, right? Washington didn't ask for the Revolutionary War, but Trump's trying to create something so he can then become a wartime president and go down in history as one of the greats. And he doesn't understand that, like, a leader doesn't create a problem and then fix it. A leader rises to the occasion and fixes a problem. Trump hasn't fixed any problems. He's just creating more. Again, I talked to you guys before this whole Iran conflict started. I think we talked about this yesterday. You had 30 to 50 vessels going through the Strait of Hormuz every day. Oil was in the 60s. Like, the cost of energy was coming down. Inflation was coming down. The economy, albeit slow, was moving in the right direction. GDP moving in the right direction. Unemployment moving in the right direction. But now it's all turned on its head, guys. Like, again, hardly anything's going through the Strait. Interest rates next quarter are probably going to be 5%, right? So again, you're not going to get any rate cuts. The 10-year bond, which dictates what your guys' mortgage rates are, is going up, right? It means that people don't trust America. People don't want to park their money here anymore because they don't know what the fuck we're going to do. We're not responsible with our own money. We can't balance a budget. We're not trying to decrease the debt. We're not trying to do anything to offset the implosion that's coming for this country. And so people don't trust it anymore, So it's a bad deal, All right, let's see. Conus, doesn't it hurt being as ignorant as you are? Okay. All right, cranky mullet. No, I'm right. All right, Kevin, so you got to take your vitamins so you don't go bald again. I like being bald. My wife likes a bald guy. Even if I got hair, I'd probably shave it off. It's just an easier way to do it. And I've been this way for 20 years. Okay, so this is Candice Condracula. Cool name, man. All right, can you I'm also getting interested in becoming an importer. Practically, so particularly the arms side of India, where some of the prices and obstacles I might come across. So again, you're trying to become an importer. So the biggest barrier to being an importer, guys, is speaking the language. It's literally the biggest barrier for most people, right? So you got to find someone that speaks the language, and you got to find someone that understands the different dialects, and you got to find someone that understands the customs, right? So the way that we talk and the way that we bat things back and forth here in America is wildly different than in India, right? So other things you got to do is you got to make sure you have quality control. So India and other countries, I mean China as well, they have massive problems with quality. So you got to make sure that you're constantly staying up on quality. So there's a cost associated with that. So you got to find somebody within the industry, and there's lots of these people around. These people literally deal with like my industry's hardware. So you got these people, they'll charge you a fee, say 10%, right? And again, because you're buying things from India, 10% is like nothing here. It's like 20 cents, 30 cents. You got to find someone that does the quality side, that understands what you need as an importer in order to sell to your customer here in America, right? So it's very important that you have people that are on the quality side. The other thing you got to find is you not only got to find people within the industry, but you got to find people that understand your engineering, right? So a lot of people in the third world, believe it or not, they'll have thousands of designs, and you can actually go through all their designs if you want to create a product yourself. You want to what's called white label a product, because what happens is a lot of these third world countries, your information isn't proprietary. They're sharing it with everybody, and this is one of the massive problems with operating in the third world. Now, if you're a multinational corporation, you don't give a shit. You'll give them all the technology, you'll give them all the information that you want, because you're such a large-scale business. You're bringing that product over here, you're marketing it up 10 times, and then you're making a massive profit utilizing cheap labor and regulations that are non-existent in the third world, right? So anyway, I don't know if any of that information is helpful for you, but that's usually the thing that most people are fighting with. So, okay. All right. Wow, our comments are going through the freaking roof, guys. Okay, if you guys want to get your comment read right away, you're going to have to put in a super chat and or a super gift or something like that at this point. I can't keep up. This is what happens every time we start doing our streams. Okay, Bill Button says, we'll do comments for another 5 minutes, guys, and then we're going to get into, we're going to talking about breaking up companies. We're going to talk about Theodore Roosevelt, and again, why I think he's probably the greatest president we've ever had. Okay, hope this one enjoys his misinformation report. All right, cool. Got two of this all through. We got Touch, Neil, Avik. We're not sure what's going on there. You get a wife and a wife. All right, why wife and kids is dumb? What's the point? Why wife and kids is dumb? What's the point? Okay, now Cranky Molt, that's not the case. We talked about this yesterday. You got a lot of countries that are actually promoting having children, right? They're actually incentivizing having children. But the problem with a lot of these countries that promote this stuff, a lot of the countries that have universal health care, universal child care, there's countries that you pay no tax if you have 4 kids, and you pay incrementally less tax the more children that you have. A lot of countries promote this. But what they don't have is none of them have a military. So what they're doing is they're using the American military. These are a lot of NATO countries. They're using the American military to subsidize their people, meaning since they don't have to spend hundreds of billions of dollars defending their country, what they can do is they can then spend that money on their people. This is one of the reasons that you guys don't have universal health care, you don't have universal child care, is because you're paying for the defense of the rest of the world so that they can have it. So one of the things that Trump ran on was getting out of NATO, which is a good thing. Trump should have got out of NATO on day one when he became president. He said, you know what, fuck you guys. You can defend yourselves. We're bringing the military back here. We're not paying for you guys. You're not going to carry America's big stick. And we should have used the money, that the $1 trillion that we're spending for our military. We could carve some of that out and help our young people, right? Subsidize some of the housing so the young people want to have kids. Maybe we can grow this country out of the clusterfuck that it's in, right? So we're not having any kids. When the baby boomers were born, every woman was having 3 kids on average, right? Today, it's 1.4, all right? Countries like South Korea, it's 0.7, right? No country that is wealthy is replacing itself, and a lot of countries are starting to subsidize young people having kids. If we want to grow this country, we want to make a better society, right? We want to have people to have it better, the next generation to have it better than we had it. We got to start helping young kids get excited about living, right? And when you get comments like this, like, what's the point of having kids? This is one of the things that I talk about a lot because it makes me very sad that, again, the boomers basically just incentivized everyone just buy shit, like just become hyper-consumerism and number go up MBAs, right? The people that started these multinational corporations that run these large companies don't give a shit about the American worker, don't give a shit that the American worker can't afford a home, don't give a shit that the American worker is paying an exorbitant amount for insurance, is paying an exorbitant amount for housing, can't get childcare, can't get daycare. The cost of everything has gone through the freaking roof. Corporations don't give a shit. And it's a major problem. We have to work on it. We have to change the way this country works. And again, breaking up large monopolies, trust busting, right, as it was called back then, is one tool to do that, and we need to examine it, right? So, if you guys saw yesterday, Elon Musk talked about paying the TSA, right? And everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's amazing! So cool that Elon Musk did this." Like, right on. Elon Musk is better than the government. TSA needs to be paid for. TSA needs to get a paycheck. They're working without a paycheck, right? They signed a contract. They got to work whether they get paid or not. Meanwhile, Congress gets paid. You guys see the Congress people? They get to skirt the line that everyone else has to wait in, and then they get to get on the plane and go on their flight. Like, crazy hypocrisy. But what I wrote down is that Elon Musk paying TSA is actually not a good thing. In fact, it's wildly scary. Because this is what happens when you're in a situation where you're essentially heading for a Great Depression type collapse within your economy. When the citizens start paying for the services that the federal government is supposed to provide, that's when you know your economy is fucked, right? That's when you know that your society is right around the corner from disaster, from catastrophe. Okay, another thing that happened in 1908, again, I had to write this down. 1908 is the federal government couldn't pay its bills, right? The federal government was in deep shit. And you know what they did? They looked to a guy named J.P. Morgan, and J.P. Morgan essentially bailed out the entire government. He bailed out the banking system. He got together a bunch of other wealthy people, and they essentially fixed the federal government, right? And what happened right after? You think these guys did this for nothing, right? You think they did it out of the goodness of their heart, right? Elon's going to pay the TSA. You think he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart? What happened is we got the Fed. So that collection of bankers in 1908, when they agreed to bail out the federal government, well, they kind of had some requests, right? And those requests were clearly honored because the federal government had nowhere to go. And so, yeah, J.P. Morgan came in and took care of it. But we got the Fed. Now, ever since the Fed was created, you guys see what's happened in banking? There's no bank implosions. When the Fed was created in 1913, you don't have a lot of bank implosions anymore. The people that are wealthy, they stay wealthy forever because there's no dips in the economy, right? The thing that's supposed to thin out the brush, right, the dead wood, right? These are large legacy corporations that have captured their industry. These companies are never allowed to fail, right? Which means that you don't get young and up-and-coming businesses, right? You don't get young and up-and-coming innovation, new technology. It takes a lot longer. And what happens is these corporations, they protect their market share and their industry by slow rolling innovation, by buying the thing that would put them out of business. They then make that one person rich, right? But then they don't let that technology come out, So this is, I think everyone kind of understands how this works. It's a very common thing. But anyway, I don't want to focus on that right now. But yeah, Elon bailing out the TSA is not a good thing. It looks good. It sounds good to the average taxpayer who doesn't fucking care because they just want to fly somewhere. I get that. But this is bad, guys. It's bad when single people can pay for entire government salaries. And some of this massive. There's like 64,000 people at the TSA, guys. Like, this is a bad sign, So, there's my comment on that. Okay. All right, let's see. We got McKinley was a better president than Roosevelt. Bill Button. Okay, well, we could talk about that because McKinley came right after Roosevelt, if I remember correctly. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the information pulled up in front of me. Sorry. Okay, what kind of coffee do you drink? So this is Boo Boo. Boo Boo, I'm drinking Pete's coffee in my original vintage Starbucks cup. This one has most of my. I've got like 6 of these things. Most of them have tons of chips all over them, but I keep them around because I'm one of those cheap guys. I don't like to buy new shit every year. But I'm drinking Pete's coffee. Do you guys know anything about the coffee industry? The guy that started Pete's Coffee was originally at Starbucks, left Starbucks, started his own company, and now I believe Pete's is one of the largest coffee companies in America, and their coffee is vastly superior to Starbucks. The problem with Starbucks coffee is, and Starbucks is fine, but Starbucks coffee has just a little bit of a burnt flavor to it, a burnt aroma, whereas your Pete's coffee has much more of I want to say like a chocolatey kind of aroma to it, and it doesn't have that burnt kind of aftertaste that you get with Starbucks coffee. So I'm sorry, I know you don't want to hear about coffee. Okay, let's see. This is Zinki's YT. As a Jew, I don't support the Jew or the Palestinians. I don't support Trump either. Okay, well, and again, I got a lot of Jewish customers, and again, we're not, as business owners, we're never supposed to talk about politics. We're never supposed to talk about anything. I know a lot of Jewish people, and again, we don't talk necessarily about politics per se, but you could tell these people are just, they're just capitalists. You know, they want to have kids. They are good, normal, like good-hearted American people. Like I've never met a Jewish person that thinks that killing people is great, or that is super pro-Israel to the point where they're like just wear it on their sleeve all the time. Like so these are just like normal American people. At least the people that I've dealt with. I think a lot of this shit grows and festers in the state of Israel, right? And because it's such a propaganda thick environment over there. I think a lot of Jewish people see through this shit. We all just want to live. We all just want to have kids. We all want to start businesses. We want to go make some money. We want to send our kids to school, go on vacation, do normal shit. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants the killing of innocent poor people. Basically, it's just I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay. See, Trump has to be the dumbest president of the United States in my lifetime so far. This is Leverell T3. Yeah, and I agree, man. Like I said, Trump is just wild. Again, I voted for Trump 3 times. I'm wildly disappointed with what this man is doing. It's just insane. Okay, again, guys, sorry I can't keep up with comments. I'm just going to keep reading as they come through because we got so many comments in here. It's impossible. You guys want your comment read right away? Hit the super chat, super like, all that kind of stuff, and you get your comment read right away. Okay, morning. The problem is called rich syndrome. I saw it firsthand in working well for a multimillionaire. They hit an age where they realize their wealth influences others. They develop huge egos. Yeah, 100%. And but this is with anything, guys. It's not just wealthy people. This is with anyone that gets a little bit of influence, right? Anyone that gets a little bit of traction in whatever it is that they do. Everybody wants to have influence over other people to a small degree. And my guess is it's probably more with men than women. But yeah, I would imagine that as you get richer, right, you surround yourself with more yes people that want something from you, right? They either want money, they want contacts, they want to be able to influence you because it helps them. So you start getting a lot of yes people around you, and like, oh my God, suddenly, this environment cultivates around you where you're the epicenter of it. And again, it will build your ego up in a really probably immature way, I would imagine. And it's kind of interesting, there's no doubt about it. But I don't think that, again, I think that millionaires are amazing. Millionaires keep my business going. Millionaires are the thing that allowed a dumb guy who never graduated high school to buy his first home at 21 years old, right? I've always had nice cars. I've always been able to go on vacation because of millionaires and billionaires. I told you guys before, I worked in aerospace for 20 years. Who do you think buys private jets? Wealthy people, So again, wealthy people are very important in this country. They get a bad rap, but again, they could do a better job of helping the country. They can do a better job of helping their citizens here. But the truth is that once you get really wealthy, you're focused on making more money, right? Number go up. And it's very rare that you find a millionaire that is willing to sacrifice the growth of his business, to slow the growth of his business, to hire Americans, right? To train Americans. Very rare that you find that. In fact, what they're actually looking for is they're looking for a cheaper way to do everything, a more efficient way to do everything, which is natural, but a lot of times it's at the detriment of their own people, which is like I said, it's a little bit of a conundrum, but that's what I've seen. All right, more comments coming in. Okay, let's see, the start acting like big rich kids and start acting like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. Okay, do you support Trump? Yes, I support Trump, but he's kind of an idiot at this point, and I don't support him anymore. I've said to you guys on many, I say it all the time now. At this point, Trump is, his ego and the people that are surrounding him have taken over. His megalomania, it has taken over him. He doesn't have, he's not in control of his faculties, guys. So Trump literally is trying to bend reality. He's trying to create problems where there are no problems so that he can then be the solution. This is very common in government. Government loves to create problems so that they can then come up with a solution, right? They tax you through the inefficiency of the problem, right? And then they tax you for the solution, right? And they just accumulate power. Trump's doing the same thing right now. He wants to go down as a wartime president. He wants to get on Mount Rushmore. He wants to be thought of in the echelon of Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Right. This is what this guy is trying to do, and it's he's so out of control that me as a lifelong Republican, very conservative guy, I'm voting all Democrat just to stop him. Like that's literally what it's come down. And it's really sad if I'm being completely honest with you, because again, the guy won the popular vote. He won the popular vote because he pandered to what people really want. People wanted mass deportations, ugly mass deportations. People wanted the border closed. People wanted massive tax cuts because they're tired of shelling out money to the federal government and watch their money getting wasted, right? People wanted massive tariffs because they wanted to bring the work back to America. And when the people tell you, oh, you can't bring the manufacturing jobs are never coming back. Okay, I'm here to tell you guys that if you cut the rich people off from the third world and you remove the cheap labor from the third world that they bring in here, these people will find ways to make money. They're not going to go pick up a shovel or go take a W-2 job and go work for somebody else. Ain't happening. They're going to find ways to make money using the resources that they have, which are the American people. So anyway, that's why Trump won, and that's why he won the swing states. That's why he won the popular vote, which never happens for Republicans. It didn't happen since Reagan won. And if you guys don't remember this, Reagan only ran because Jimmy Carter fucked the economy up so bad that you had 14% inflation for multiple years. Paul Volcker had to come in, do 20% rates, in order to crush inflation. Fucked up everything for a lot of people, but because Ronald Reagan was willing to put those policies in place and inflict a shit ton of pain on everyone, everything grew at wild growth the next year. Okay, nobody wants to take the pain now. No one's willing to do it, and Trump was supposed to be the guy that was willing to inflict major pain on this country to make it better. He didn't do it. The American people voted for it. This is what they wanted, and he tacoed on everything, as they say. He turned tail and ran. Anytime he got a little bit of pushback, went the other direction. And now that's why we're over in Iran, because again, Trump lost his fucking backbone. Netanyahu and Lindsey Graham and people like Sean Hannity and Mark Levin, these guys told Trump, like, hey, Trump, you're gonna be up there with Theodore Roosevelt. People are gonna talk about you for 1,000 years. You're gonna be up there with Caesar. And Trump buys this shit. His ego, and again, he's old as fuck. Like, I don't know how much of his brain is even there. But again, clearly the guy can easily be manipulated, and that's too bad. I never saw that when I was voting for Trump in the beginning. So what else Trump is doing? What is good for the added tariffs on penguins? Okay, not sure your comment is there. Again, guys, I can barely keep up with comments. So you guys are if you want your comment read right away, you guys know what to do. Okay, can anyone make a good argument for why illegal aliens should be voting in American elections? Again, this is not even an issue, guys. Again, illegal aliens aren't voting in elections. Some of them maybe, but again, who gives a fuck? What are you talking about? 10,000 people? Let's just say 10,000 illegal aliens vote, okay? You got 180 million people vote every year. Like, what the fuck are we worried about that for? But again, this is the stuff you guys want to focus on. This is the stuff that they feed you. And you're just like, oh my God, illegal aliens. Like, how about you just kick them all out? Like, why are you worried about the voting system? And again, a voter ID makes perfect sense. I think no one disagrees with that. But again, your Congress people are going to struggle to vote for that because that's what the American people want. You elected a president to do these really unpopular things because that's what Americans want. They're done putting up with the bullshit. But again, you guys aren't getting what you want. The president's not doing what you want. Congress isn't doing what you want. Like, Nancy Mace brought a House Resolution 1100 to the Senate floor. Go Google it. That was basically going to put out all of the sexual harassment claims that were paid out for Congress people. But again, nobody wants to vote on that when it's not being brought, even though it's overwhelmingly popular. Things like the Epstein files. America wanted the Epstein files put out. Congress gave you half of what you wanted. The rest of it's bogged down by the Department of Justice, okay? You don't get what you want, okay? Other bills that were supposed to come out, right? There was also a bill put out called the Anti-Stock Trading Act, okay? Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, killed that bill. Again, everyone in America thinks that Congress should not be able to trade stocks. Doesn't come before the bill, right? They're barely going to get this, whatever this fucking SAVE Act thing is. Again, people aren't, wildly popular bill, but they're acting like they can't get this thing done. Meanwhile, sending your whole fucking Navy over to the Middle East, no problem. Easy peasy. The military-industrial complex needs $200 billion to buy munitions and make more weapons for this war in Iran. No problem. That's going to sail through Congress. I'll be shocked if there's any pushback against that. Again, do the American people support this Iran conflict? Maybe 50% supports it. Maybe not. That'll get passed through, no problem. Okay, the work of the American people, the will of the American people is not represented in our government anymore. It's all bought and paid for. PACs like AIPAC have way more influence over politicians than you guys do. When you vote for somebody, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The people that pay the politicians, they're the ones that are getting what they want. You guys are paying for all of it. And it needs to stop. And you're paying for it because, again, your government's printing $2 trillion a year. Your deficit, your federal deficit is now $39 trillion a year. Nobody has any responsibility. Meanwhile, you, the taxpayer, you got to make sure you balance your budget. You got to make sure you pay your taxes. If the IRS comes and knocks at your door, you better fucking, answer the IRS, give them what they want. Otherwise, they'll put you in jail. They'll put liens over all your properties. They'll put liens on your business. They'll put liens on your car. So they'll go in your bank account, snatch your fucking money right out of it. Yet, our Department of Defense doesn't have to pass an audit, right? Is not accountable to the American people, right? It doesn't, the situation is not the same, right? The politicians that you vote into office don't have to bring bills up that are wildly popular with Americans, right? They can just bring up the bills that they want to bring up, right? The ones that divide Americans, they'll bring that stuff up because that's good for getting them reelected, right? That plays good on Fox News and CNN. Our system of government is broken, guys. It is so broken. And again, I know this is wildly off topic. I talked about this yesterday, but at some point we got to get our government to be accountable to its people. And again, the government is not accountable to us anymore. It's not accountable. We are literally paying taxes and not being represented. We fought a war over this, guys. Like most of you that are whatever you're making, if you're making $80,000 a year, right, which a lot of people are, okay, you're paying 22.5% in income taxes to the federal government, guys. Like it's insane. We factor in your state taxes, your county taxes, your city taxes, your property taxes, your income taxes. Most of you guys are paying over 50% of everything you make in some form of tax. And for what? What are you getting for it? Your property. I mean, my property taxes alone are $16,000 a year on my home. Okay, what am I getting for that? Like, does Illinois have the best schools in America? I mean, again, everyone's fucking leaving Illinois. Like the voter base, or excuse me, the taxpayer base, people that make all the money, that make all this shit possible, they're all moving to Miami, guys. I'm telling you guys, what is happening, all the wealthy people that actually care about how their money is spent, they can't get out of paying the federal government, but guess what? They can go to a state where they don't have to watch their money get wasted. And that's what's happening. Everybody with any money is moving to Florida and Texas. You guys look what's happening in California. Everyone's leaving California. Hell, fucking ExxonMobil is leaving California. Tesla left. All the people that made their money in Silicon Valley, they all left California. They're gone. They're over in Miami now. Like Florida is the new fucking the hill to die on, guys. It's the new Alamo. Texas is going to be is bringing back the Alamo, of course, where it initially was. But at the same time, Florida is becoming the Alamo for people that don't want to see their money wasted. Florida is going to be the first state, and I'm saying it at every cast. Florida's going to be the first state that tells the federal government no. It's going to happen, guys. Again, as a furniture maker, I sell very expensive furniture to the wealthiest people in the country. Guess what? I used to send shit tons of furniture to New York. Guess where it all goes now? It's all going down to Florida, guys. All of it. And if it's not going to Florida, it's going to Dallas. If it's not going to Dallas, I'm still sending stuff to Connecticut. I still sell stuff to Massachusetts. I still send some stuff to Chicago. But guess what? It's cut in half. Everything is going to Florida, guys. Florida is the new Alamo. I'm dead serious, guys. And pay attention because it's happening. Okay. All right. Guy has Biden or Trump better. Guy was Biden or Trump better. Again, none of them, they're all terrible, guys. See, big bombs, little sticks. Okay, I got what's going on there. Okay, racist, what? Okay, we got some spammers. Clearly, the moderators aren't in here yet, guys. If you're in here, man, shut these fucking people down. These spammers are so annoying because they just don't put anything in there. All right, Cranky Mullis is great lamb. Great. Okay, let's see, do you support Trump or Biden? Okay, well, I supported Trump. I voted for Trump 3 times, but I don't support him anymore. He's not doing the will of the people. He's not doing what he ran on. He's not doing what YouTubers like me and the people on the podcasters like Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Aiden Ross, Sean Ryan, all the most popular podcasters in the world. He's not doing the things that he said he was going to do when he used their audience to get elected. Like Trump used everybody. And now they're like, hey, motherfucker, now it's our turn. He's like, oh, hold on, we got to go take care of Israel. We got to make sure we take care of the large corporations with the tax cuts. But you guys, next year, next election cycle, hold on, I'll get you guys on the back end. I know I got 4 years to get this done. Why are you guys in such a hurry? This is what he does. This is what all politicians do, and everyone's done, guys. Everyone's done. So again, I don't support Trump. I don't support anyone. I'm voting Democrat across the board as a lifelong Republican, as a business owner who doesn't want to pay taxes. I'm tired of seeing my tax dollars wasted, but we've got to stop Trump. We have to show that you cannot get elected as president and not do what you ran on. You can't do it. You are literally beholden to your voters. And when you can just forsake them and then go do whatever you want to go do, that tells you guys that the system doesn't work. So it's tough. Okay, you lie. Trump is hell. Nah. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. I appreciate. Well, thanks for nothing voting for that blimp. Okay, this is unoriginal. Appreciate your comment, dude. Okay, Cranky Bullet, he is right. Bill Button, Israel's not God's chosen. They were God's chosen until they killed his son. You people are literally stupid. Okay, so Bill Button, the thing that I think my wife said this to me. It was kind of funny. So it's Jesus was a Jew, right? So Jesus was born a Jew, and again, Jews always say that they're the chosen people, all this kind of stuff. Well, it's funny. that didn't like what was Jesus's great thing? Like, did he push Judaism? What did Jesus push that was so? Again, if it was such a great thing, he was born into it. Like, what happened after that? He created this little thing. What was it called? Christianity, something like that. Like, how's that working out? You know, so I thought it's just an interesting take. I don't know what you guys think about that. So, okay, do you support being gay and stupid and Trump? Okay, let's get your comment here. No, I don't. But again, okay, yes, you're smart. You voted, but then you smear it through. Trump is stupid. Okay, I'm sure what you're saying there. Okay, you're like a genius. Okay, what's going on there? Okay, let's keep going through comments, guys. We're gonna start looking for good comments. So we're just gonna get them out of here and God, I wish the moderators were in here. Okay, the U.S. is fucked. All right, this is Brian Fox. Yeah, we're in deep trouble, man. And again, the topic for the conversation for today is going to be talking about Theodore Roosevelt and trust busting, breaking up these large corporations. And again, breaking up large corporations is actually a good thing because a lot of these large corporations are the people that fund government, right? They're the people that the representatives and the senators are most beholden to, right? They're the ones that get the most attention. You, the voter, you get attention once every 4 years and twice every 2 years. Like, you don't get very much attention. And then when you do vote for things, they don't actually happen, you know? So I live in Illinois, but my business is in Missouri. So we live on kind of the state line here, right on the Mississippi River. And the politics are wildly different between these two states. Missouri has a senator named Josh Hawley, who is one of the people we're going to talk about as a trust buster, as someone who is willing to break up large corporations, and we can go over why he's the guy to do it. Another person that's willing to do that is someone like an Elizabeth Warren, which, again, if you're a Republican, you think this woman is the devil. And again, I don't think much of her either. But she was right about the 2008 financial crisis. She called it from the very beginning. She saw what was happening. She understands what large corporations do when they get too much power, right? So she's another one of these people that could potentially bust up these businesses. But you don't have a lot of people. J.D. Vance actually is someone who has talked about breaking up Google. This guy has talked about breaking up these companies and what happens when you let them get so large, right? Things like stifling innovation, things like industry capture, right? Things like the suppression of new businesses and new ideas, right? He talks about this kind of stuff. Not so much other businesses, but definitely Google. So we'll get into that. All right, Night Gasper. Why don't we break up these companies that are almost a monopoly? Isn't competition one of the best things about capitalism? Yes, and that's why we don't live in a true capitalist country, guys. Like, again, I say this as a business owner, been in business for 10 years. I know what true capitalism is. And this, again, business is not supposed to be as easy as it is for these companies. And again, as a guy who actually has to advertise on places like Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, access to advertise on Pinterest and places like Google, okay? The way the advertising work is Google has captured almost everything. There is almost no competition in advertising, which is what Google really is. If you guys don't know this, everyone thinks of it as a search engine. It's not. It's an advertising entity. And again, we could talk about this stuff when we're talking more about that. But yeah, you're supposed to break these companies up because competition is good. You're not supposed to have one or two companies that dominate everything forever. And this is the thing. It's okay to have monopolies. Monopolies are good. That means you have a business model that really worked. But what ultimately happens is in order to maintain that massive profit margin and that industry capture, you have to monopolize it, meaning you have to kick out the rest of your competition. You have to create legal and regulatory hurdles so that people cannot challenge you. And this is what happens every time. And your Congress and your Supreme Court are supposed to come in and break these companies up. But it never happens because, again, the money's so great that these guys won't do it, you know. So it's really, really rough. So yeah, Gmail, Outlook. There's lots of competition in email. That's not an issue. Okay, Trump 2028. All right, Bill Button, appreciate that. Well, maybe Trump will run for a third term, man. Maybe, I mean, technically a fourth term, right? Okay, give an example of A. All right, now what you're saying there. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a dying company. Again, it's one thing, like a company like LinkedIn had dominance in its industry. Right? It was the industry for, you know, networking and finding employees and telling people what it is you do is a great thing, but it's dying because its business model is no longer relevant. And this is what should happen in a healthy economy. Something should be built up. It can be around for 10 or 20 years, but then it fades out because a new innovation comes in that replaces it, right? And I don't know what the innovation to replace LinkedIn was. But again, when it comes to things like search with Google, Google has protected its industry since the 2000s, right? So it's protected itself for a long time. And its margins are something like 40 or 50%. And it's been that way for decades. Right, and this means that when there's one of the kind of the laws in business is that when you have a product that is so valuable that creates so much margin, right, so much profit margin, what happens is everybody that has access to that information or has an idea floods that industry to eat that margin. What Google has done is this has batted back everyone. Like no one has been able to flood into search. No one has been able to flood into advertising to challenge Google. And therefore, they've been able to keep this margin. This is one of the telltale signs that you have a monopoly, right? And again, for whatever reason, our regulators, the FCC, FTC, they're not interested. They're not interested in going after these companies. And again, when you have an army of lawyers and attorneys, tax accountants, and things like that, you can beat these charges back should they show up. But our government doesn't even go after these people, which is kind of weird. Yeah, anyway, we'll get into it. Okay, what is an example of a stoped idea? What are you saying, a stupid ideal? I don't know what you're saying there, dude. So, okay, let's see, give me an example of what the donor rates have done. I don't know what the donor rates, all right, go Methodist, democracies. Give an example, send another 100 billion to Israel. Yes, we got all the money in the world for Israel. No money for you guys, though. No money for universal health care, child care, no money for incentivizing young people to have kids, no money for anything. We got lots of money for war, lots of money for foreign countries. All right, online scammer, this is Blue Nine. All right, maybe, okay. See, this is MRM3Anor. Okay, why did Trump start a beauty pageant and brag about watching his little girls changing? Okay, I've talked about this again. We always seem to get back to the Epstein files. Okay, here you guys go. Like, I literally started this channel talking about the Epstein files. It's what grew it to what it is now. What you guys have to understand about Donald Trump and the whole Epstein situation is a lot, and not enough people talk about why the Epstein blackmail operation worked, okay? If you want to understand why the blackmail operation worked, you have to go back to its benefactor, right? So Jeffrey Epstein is basically a failed college professor, not very intelligent, but he had this benefactor, right? And the benefactor's name was Les Wexner, okay? Now, Les Wexner was known for starting this little tiny company. You might have heard of it. It's called Victoria's Secret, right? You know, the hot chicks, the angels, you know, wearing the slinky little panties. Like, oh my God. I was one of those guys, like, when I was coming up in high school, man, Miranda Kerr, holy shit. Vivica Fox, oh my God. So what happened during that period of time is that this was all the rage. Like, all the men wanted to see their girlfriends and their wives in these little tiny, beautiful, you know, thong bikinis and undies and, you know, the lacy bras and all this kind of stuff. And every woman, this is the important part, every woman wanted to be one of those models. The Victoria's Secret angels were one of the, like they were on all the magazines, they were on advertisements. Again, men wanted their women to be in those clothes, men wanted their women to be those women, and the women wanted to be those women. So, Lex Wexner is wildly famous, billionaire. Victoria's Secret is a major success. Wildly popular. Well, what happened was that this guy was hanging out with this guy named Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, you know, was may or may not have been involved with Mossad, right? One of his good buddies was this woman named Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was Robert Maxwell, right? Which was a very well-known Mossad agent, right? Also a British intelligence officer, right? So he had all the ties. Well, Les Wexner may or may not have given Jeffrey Epstein access to a lot of these girls, right? Because when you are a fashion mogul and you have a lot of people, you need a lot of talent. The talent are little girls, young women, people that want to be models, people that want to be movie stars, people that want to be, you know, Kate Moss, people that want to be, I said, Miranda Kerr, Vivica Fox, you know, maybe you want to be Gisele Bündchen. We know these people, right? So you have decades of women wanting to be these chicks. And so Jeffrey Epstein was getting access to all these little girls, right? He was using these little girls to create a honeypot scenario, probably using Mossad, the CIA, the FBI, Department of Justice here in America, you know, what we might call the deep state, was using all these people to do this. Okay, now, how does Donald Trump factor into this? Okay, so this person made the comment, right, that why did Donald Trump, you know, buy Miss Universe, right? Why was he hanging out with little girls? So Donald Trump bought Miss Universe back in, God, I want to say it was the 2010s, if I remember correctly. But what came with that was this little thing called Miss Teen USA. Now, Miss Teen USA, if you guys don't know what again, we don't have magazines today. Magazines are kind of a lost thing. Back in the day, every girl wanted to be on the cover of Miss Teen USA magazine. Every little girl wanted to be a beauty queen pageant. Every little girl wanted to be Victoria's Secret angel, and this was a big thing. You know, like Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, all these people were part of talent agencies, right? They wanted to be movie stars, they wanted to be singers, they wanted to be models. Companies like Glamour Shots were huge. Like parents would send their kids off to Glamour Shots to build a portfolio to become models and get into these industries. And it was a big, thriving industry, right? It's pretty much dead now, by the way. I wonder why. But anyway, so these people that were in this fashion industry, these photographers, the people in media, people like Brett Ratner, go Google that guy, major financier in media, right? These guys had access to all these young people. Well, Jeffrey Epstein was using a lot of these people to do nasty shit, to proliferate pedophilia. But he wasn't doing it because this guy was a serial pedophile. He was doing it to create a honeypot blackmail operation for the titans of industry, people in politics, world leaders, princes, Saudi princes, and British royalty. Okay, and we know this because we've seen all the people that have been in the Epstein files so far, right? One of the people that died in prison was this guy named John something Pierre. I forget his name off the top of my head. But he was one of the main photographers for Les Wexler's Victoria's Secret. And he was one of the talent scouts. And he was one of these guys who was going to find this stuff. He was a convicted pedophile. They threw his ass in jail, and he was killed in jail. Shocker. Fun fact, guys. Prisoners don't like pedophiles. Prisoners don't have a lot of rules and regulations, a lot of morals, a lot of ethics. But one of the things that people in prison all agree on is that if you're a pedophile, you're fucking dead. They don't put up with it, and that's exactly what happened to this guy. That's exactly what would have happened to Epstein had he been in Gen Pop. But they didn't put him in Gen Pop. You guys notice that? But he still got killed in prison, right? Anyway, so Donald Trump buys Miss Universe. He gets Miss Teen USA. Miss Teen USA pageant, right, is around all these little girls. There's all the videos of Trump walking around, all these little naked women, and the guy loved to be around little women, or excuse me, young women and young girls. And the truth is that Trump's vice isn't alcohol. His vice isn't drugs. You know, he does like power for sure, but his vice isn't necessarily money. His vice is women. You know, Trump is a known womanizer. You guys remember grabbing by the pussy? Like, this is Trump's thing. Like, he wants to be so powerful and so relevant that he can literally just have any woman that he wants. This is his kryptonite. And this is why Trump is in Epstein's orbit, because he's a part of this fashion, young girls wanting to be models, young girls wanting to be to be singers like Britney Spears, young women wanting to be movie stars. You know, it was a massive industry at the time. And again, this is, I think, what caused Jeffrey Epstein to proliferate and to be so successful, is because this guy had access to everyone. And again, if you look at all the people that have been arrested, like go Google the Jeffrey Epstein of Canada, right? There's another guy that was doing the same thing. He's not very well talked about, but again, Canada has its own Jeffrey Epstein. Little less Mossad, you know, a little bit more fashion, raping little girls, you know, because they all want to be fashion icons, you know. So anyway, interesting information for you guys, and you're not going to get this from most people, so I hope this is helpful to you guys. But anyway, I appreciate your comment. All right, Truth National Uncensored's back in there. Good to see you, dude. Okay, they know it had no weight, and Bill Clinton went there 1,000 times. They know it had no weight, and Bill Clinton went there 1,000 times. Yeah, and again, like, just, guys, like, just, I don't know how I explain this to people. Like, just go Google, right? Go to Grok, go to any platform that is an aggregator of data, and just Google what are the most documented, high-profile cases in American history. Okay, that's all you got to do. And if there's nothing, if Jeffrey Epstein is nothing, it was just Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, you know, diddling little girls and you know, just loving being pedophiles, why were there so many documents? Go look at it. You'll find out Jeffrey Epstein, there's more documents on the Jeffrey Epstein case than almost any other case in American history, right? There's some stuff on World War II that has more. JFK has a lot, but I think Epstein is up to more files than JFK, more than MLK, more than January 6th, more than the World Wars. There's so many documents on Jeffrey Epstein because there's nothing there. You know, like, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to understand exactly what's going on here. But again, they're going to keep hiding it, covering up, slow rolling it, you know. And again, I think America knows what's going on. One of the reasons we could be over in Iran right now is because of the Epstein files. You know, that professor Zhang, you know, he's like on all the podcasts right now. He's like super popular on YouTube. One of the things that he said was, you know, Donald Trump could be compromised through blackmail. You know, and again, blackmail how? You know, I mean, again, Trump doesn't drink alcohol. Trump might have some skeletons in his closet, but most of those skeletons probably involve 14-year-old girls. Most of those skeletons probably involve, getting blowjobs, from people that maybe he shouldn't be getting blowjobs from. This is the dirt that they would have on Trump because Trump is an open book. Trump is a well-known womanizer, a well-known, a philanderer. Look at the Stormy Daniels. Listen to her talk about how she was fucking Trump while Melania was pregnant. I mean, this guy's weakness is women. I mean, clearly, and again, like what? No shade on him. We're all flawed, right? We're all susceptible to these kind of things, especially as men. Again, I got my vices. Everyone's got a vice. So great comment, though. Okay, yeah, you voted for Biden. Okay, I'm not sure who voted for Biden. I love Trump policies. I do, true. This is Nadine Baker. It sure would be nice if Trump would actually do the things that he ran on. I loved his policies, too, and this is one of the reasons, we got to unelect this guy. We got to make him a lame duck by bringing the Democrats in, give them power, let them impeach Trump, because, again, Trump is not doing what he ran on. He won the popular vote, guys. This never happens for Republicans. I can't get people to understand how important that is. It does not happen for Republicans. Not when you've been sending people to college for 20 years. It's impossible for people to believe that kicking out illegals, right, that actually following the law, punishing poor people that have 40 arrests on their criminal record. You can never convince academics that this is a good thing because they're all bleeding heart people. We've been doing this to our country for 30 years. We've been creating layer upon layer of pussy, virtuous culture in this country. Trump gets elected because people see it. They're tired of it. They don't want to hear oh my God, that person had a hard upbringing, he's been arrested 40 times, so it's not a big deal that he kills, some innocent girl on a fucking bus there in North Carolina, leaving her pizza job trying to go home. Okay, people are tired of that shit. They're tired of the endless wars. They're tired of giving all of our money and resources to this little tiny country, Israel, with 9.5 million people, size of New Jersey, in a massive part of the world where they fucking hate these people, okay? They're tired of it. We're tired of seeing our dollars get wasted. We're tired of paying for NATO. We're tired of protecting Europe while Europe gives its people universal health care, universal child care, incentivizes young people having children, yet we get none of that here. We're tired of protecting a place like Israel that get universal health care, universal child care, incentivizes how important it is to have a large family, a strong family. We get none of that here. Americans are tired of it. Yet, the minute Trump gets into office, oh my God, mass deportations are really hard. People don't want that to happen. Oh, people in America are getting killed at these protests. Most of us that voted for Trump were like, so what? What, did you think that no one was going to die? Do you think this was going to be easy? What the fuck do you think we elected you for? You're supposed to be the instrument of our will. We're not the instrument of your will, motherfucker. This is how it works. But again, Trump, mass deportations are kind of tough. People don't like that. It doesn't look good. Again, America supports mass deportations. America supported closing the border. America supported reducing taxes, whether that was tax on tips, whether that was no tax on overtime, whether that's corporate tax cuts, things like bonus depreciation, things like R&D tax credits. America supports stuff. You might not like it, but that's what America voted for. Trump ran on no new wars, and all the fucking, the chuds and the cucks on X and Fox News, they're all saying, oh God, no, Trump's been talking about this forever. He sure didn't talk about it on all the podcasts that I was talking about at the very beginning of this cast. He sure didn't talk about it when he was running for president very much, because again, if he would have said, oh my God, I'm going to go and I'm going to take out Iran, we wouldn't have voted for it. If he would have went in there and said, you know what, whatever Israel wants, that's what we're going to do, he wouldn't have won the vote. It just wouldn't have happened. But now that he's elected, he can do whatever he wants, and we're clearly seeing that the system doesn't work. It's broken. When we elect a new president, who are we going to elect? You guys going to elect AOC? You going to elect what's it, I don't even know what the fuck her name is anymore. It's AOC is what we all call her. The Ocasio-Cortez chick. I don't know what her first name is. Are we going to elect that person? Are we going to go elect Elizabeth Warren? Are we going to, I'm trying to think of who the superstars are. Adam Schiff, Gavin Newsom? What are your choices? Trump was supposed to be the kick in the fucking door and do the will of the American people, and he bitched out. It's what's the alternative? Wait, now we're going to vote for J.D. Vance? You guys notice J.D. Vance is fucking silent about all this kind of stuff. Because what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and trot him out after Trump, pisses off all of his voters, and J.D. Vance is going to be like, behind closed doors, I was talking to him, but I had to go along with it. But guess what? I'm not going to do these things. After Iran's already destroyed, after our military's been over, in the Middle East for another, 4 or 5 years, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do all this stuff. Just trust in me. Again, this time it's going to work. This time, voting doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. The only thing that works is cutting the tax dollars off. And this is, again, I'm going to say it till like, you want to vote for Gavin Newsom out of California? All the people that make the money have left California, guys. They're all going to Florida. Every fucking one of them. There's not one person that made a shit ton of money that changed our world in the last 20 years staying in California. They've all left because they see what's happening. And you can say, oh God, the billionaires, the millionaires, the people that have money, they don't want to pay taxes, blah, 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 blah. No, everybody wants to pay taxes. They just are tired of the waste. And again, we've got to cut it off. The tax laws have got to cut off. You want to pay for poor people? Guess what? Give some money to poor people, right? You want to pay for the military? Well, maybe give some money to the military. You want to pay for roads? Well, maybe give some money to the roads. But guess what? That's not how it works anymore. It's every politician panders to the groups that want money, all the NGOs. Well, hey, we need to go, help educate people in Nigeria. And guess what? I got a buddy who's got a company that does that. This is how it works, guys. This is how everything works. Doge found all this shit out, if you guys followed that while that was going on. Everything that the taxpayer gives the federal government is wasted. It's fucking all wasted, guys. Every bit of it. The Social Security system, again, Social Security and Medicare are the largest part of our federal budget every year that cannot be, it's non-discretionary, right? So we have to spend it every year, right? Social Security is broken, right? So when we started Social Security, you had something like 22 people paying into the system for every one person that was getting a benefit, okay? You know what it is today? It's like 3 people paying in for every person that's getting a benefit. And oh yeah, they're all living longer, right? They're all living longer, right? We're not paying it anymore. Okay, they're all living longer. The healthcare, right? This is your Medicare. The healthcare is 5,000% more expensive than when we started this thing, right? We're not paying it anymore to pay for the fucking Medicare, but we're still paying for it, okay? The federal government is broken, guys. Nobody is balancing any of the books. No one is willing to cut anybody off of anything, especially boomers and people that vote, right? Old people that have all the time in the world to go vote. We're not going to not give them, what they're entitled to, even though these are not entitlements, right? These are pay-as-you-go systems. And again, nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants to talk about, oh, I paid in, I deserve it. Okay, I get it. You do deserve it. But guess what? Your federal government fucked you, right? And in order to give you what you want, it has to fuck the people that are coming up behind you. Okay? And this is the problem. Nobody is willing to take less of anything. Nobody's willing to take less pain. Everyone just wants what they want, and they'll print ad infinitum to get it. And nobody's willing to fix it. Absolutely nobody. And again, they trap you guys. They trap you guys with cheap shit. Like, oh my God, well, the cost of stuff can't go up here in America. We can't stop making things in China because guess what? Your fucking widget bullshits that you buy 10 of every year. Like, heaven forbid you bought one high quality item that lasted you the rest of your life. You need to buy 4 or 5 of them every year because they fucking break, or you lose them. They're so cheap, you just buy more of them. Man, why look for it? It takes so much time. I'll just order it because it's so cheap. Okay, this kind of mentality traps you guys. Like, you're never going to get out of this time, this infinite cycle, that just this self-fulfilling prophecy that we have here in America of cheap shit. Like, Jesus Christ, man, it just. And if you guys look at the way the tax system works, right? More and more people are on welfare, right? We've got more people on welfare than we've had since the Great Depression. More people are collecting benefits from the federal government than ever before, guys. And they'll tell you, oh my God, they'll tell you guys that the unemployment rate is historically very low, right? But what they're not telling you is that all the jobs that the people in the bottom 30% of our population work are all on welfare, guys. All the people that work, not all, a large portion of the people that work for companies like Walmart, they're collecting SNAP benefits. People that work on Amazon, that work for Amazon, drive in Amazon, work in their factories. These people are on welfare, guys. The jobs aren't paying what they're supposed to pay. And guess what? You, the taxpayer, the people that actually make enough money to fucking make it in this country, our taxes are going to give to the poor who work these jobs, who then contribute to the revenue of the places that aren't paying them a living wage. Like, it's so fucking disgusting what is going on, guys. And again, the people that are doing these jobs, they're not even paying anything in taxes. They're just getting benefits. Because really, in order to make any meaningful contribution in taxes, you got to make something, I think, like $63,000 a year. Okay, how many of you guys are making $63,000 a year? A large chunk of our population doesn't even make that. You know, and again, these guys we call them the working poor. You know, we got to fix this fucking country, man. Like, we got to fix this stuff. Cut off the third world. Stop letting them, all the cheap shit come in here. Cut off the third world from coming in here and taking the jobs. And let's give Americans that can't make enough fucking money real work. Let's train Americans that can't make enough money real skills to do real shit to help this country. Let's create more businesses for more competition to help lower the price of things. Nobody wants to do it because guess what? It's going to take a year or two of pain to make that transition. You guys would rather have cheap shit. And it's wildly frustrating. Okay, we haven't even gotten into, we're an hour and a half into this thing. We haven't even gotten into Theodore Roosevelt. Again, comments are just through the roof. I don't know if moderators are in here yet, guys. Brian Fox, I remember you. Brian Fox, 2523. Yes, Trump and Easting 28 leaving. Yes, Trump and Easting 2028 leave your kids alone. Okay, not sure what you're saying there, dude. Darren, it's funny, they like again, the people that vote for Trump and they talk about, you know, leaving the kids alone, like the guys supported and hung out with guys that were literally fucking little kids. Like, you guys understand this? Like, again, when you, oh my God, Trump's going to bring back the rule, Trump's not going to allow this to happen. This guy was literally part of it. Like, I guarantee it. And again, there's no direct evidence, but again, you associate with shit, guess what? You're shit. And this guy associated with really dirty, debaucherous people. And again, the guy was wildly popular. He was an icon in the 90s. He's an icon in the 2000s. And again, the guy's always been wildly popular. And he surrounds himself with a lot of people. But the kind of people he liked to associate with are not good people. You know, and again, I've said it many times. We need to bring back shame in this country. You want to hang out with an associated and known pedophile? Guess what? You're a fucking piece of shit. And everyone's going to call you out. If you guys go on X right now, go on X and watch this guy who's a former police officer call out Dan Bongino for supporting and protecting pedophiles. Fucking awesome. Like, you're starting to see this in America, where we're looking at the people in power, we're looking at the people that used to be our champions, and we're realizing they're all fucking bought and paid for. They're all full of shit. Voting doesn't work. And again, you're seeing more and more people calling these people out. The guy literally calls me, he says, you fucking piece of shit, you fucking pedophile perfecter. At the very end, he calls him a faggot. Like, again, this is what the real world is like. You know, these words that you can't say anymore. Thank you, academia. You know, you can't say anything today. Everything's protected to protect these people. And again, just the fact that that guy said that, like, good for him. You know, and again, everyone's, oh, that's a slur. You don't like gay people. No, that's what people in the 90s used to say all the time. You know, it was basically meaning you're an idiot. You know, you're making fun of a person, okay? Doesn't have any gay connotation to it. You know, but again, this is what, thank you, academia, starting in the 2000s, you know, they protected the words, protected certain classes of people, okay? It's wild what they're able to, what you're seeing on X now. You're seeing the pushback against the people in power, the people that are supposed to be our champions. Kash Patel, supposed to be our champion. Dan Bongino, supposed to be our champion, right? These people, they build up their profiles, they build up their entire brands on fighting the system. Then when they get into the system, they're captured by it. No explanation. Again, Kash Patel said he was going to figure out the Epstein files. He was going to get those things brought out, and he was going to let people know exactly what was going on. Again, the minute he gets into power, got nothing to say about it. Epstein killed himself, and again, no co-conspirators, even though there clearly was co-conspirators. The guy can commit perjury, at least what I believe to be perjury. And again, no one's asking questions about it. You know, everyone's just like, oh, on to the next thing. Look, Iran war, guys. Focus on the Iran war. You know, so anyway, I love seeing when people push back against these people in when they're in their safe spaces, right? When they're at their parties and they're around their buddies and they got their security, right? You still got people that are willing to call them out to their face, you know. So anyway, very cool. Okay, bacon burner V2T. I have a bacon receipt that tastes good and makes the bacon taste like bacon. Okay, well clearly our moderators aren't in here yet. Okay, some dumb beats. Okay, we're gonna look for good comments. Let's look for some few more comments, guys. Then we're gonna get into Theodore Roosevelt. All right, Blue Thunder, man, I love that movie. Great movie. Okay, is this idiot quoting J.D. Vance? No, we're not. Well, I'm kind of quoting J.D. Vance. Okay, I get that you don't like Democrats, but that's low. I know. Okay, all right. Some of the beats. True capitalism would be a monopoly. No, that's not true, dude. Okay. See, Games Guy 82 during Donald Trump's first term. The U.S. gross national debt increased by approximately 7.8 trillion. Yes, you are 100%. Gamer Guy, you're right. And again, every Republican president grows the federal debt, right? And again, the thing is that what also happens, and again, when the Republicans come into power, generally what they do is they like to cut taxes, right? But they generally pay for those tax cuts by increasing the debt, right? They never pay for the tax cuts, right? They always say on the back end, well, hey, we're going to get growth, and that growth is going to produce more taxes into the federal government, and then we can then use that money to pay off the debt. Well, that sounds great, and a lot of times that does work. But what they don't tell you is that what generally happens is that when more money comes into the Treasury, it's not used to pay bills. It's used to fund more entitlements. It's used to fund more tax cuts. It's used to fund more increases in every federal budget. And then the payoff never comes. The lower taxes for the average person never comes. It goes to the corporations who are supposed to lower your prices, but they don't do that, right? It's supposed to come to the American taxpayer by lowering the debt, by reducing the budget, right? Balancing the budget. It never happens. The tax cuts always come. The payoff from the increase in GDP, the increase in our society, never pays for itself. It never pays down the debt. It never balances the budget. It never happens, guys. It's all a massive scam, and everyone buys it. Because, again, it's Democrat versus Republican, black guy versus white guy, woman versus man, rich versus poor. It's always somebody else that's the reason you can't get what you want. But just pay your 22.5% federal income taxes so we can keep fucking you guys over. It's all the taxes, guys. Every problem we have in America stems from paying taxes into the federal government. They all stem from that. Cut off that money, and you guys will fix this government. You'll fix it in a year. Because, again, every fucking department will scatter like cockroaches. You'll find out exactly where the fraud, waste, and abuse is because of what Elon Musk said during Doge, right? The people that are causing all the fraud, they're the first ones to say, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? And then when you ask them, hey, what are you doing with this money? Suddenly they don't got an answer, right? This is one of the things that Musk was talking about. When you send payments out to people, you got to put something in the ledger stating exactly what it's for. It's not done. And again, it's supposed to be done, but it's like accounting 101. Every business owner understands this. Federal government doesn't have to do that kind of stuff. So it's just massive, massive waste, fraud, and abuse, guys. Okay, holy smokes, guys. There is no way I can keep up with your comments. It is impossible. I'm stunned at how many comments we have in here today. And a lot of spammers. So again, our moderators must not be in here. So I appreciate you guys putting all the comments. Okay, Roshi's in here. 5706. Okay, I found a liberal in the chat. I know, man, they're everywhere, dude. Okay, William Stanford, 1452. I blame Newsom for Palestinian. Okay, interesting comment there, dude. Okay, you have no liberals. So Rochi, 5706. They didn't vote for Trump, so it's all the same to me. All right, you didn't vote for Trump, so it's all the same to me. Okay, we got William. So let's see, find some good comments. Hold on, guys. Russell Dixon in here. Russell, good to see you, dude. Keep a 40-year-old refrigerator in your garage so when your new one breaks. 100%, man. This is, again, one of the great advancements in monopolies, right? One of the great advancements that we have now is this thing called engineer obsolescence. This is why refrigerators don't last, washers don't last, cars don't last, homes don't last, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you guys to rebuy their shit all the time, because this is how corporations grow and scale. You got to always have customers. You got to always have growth. When you have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders, you have to always have growth because they expect dividends, right? When you have a responsibility to your employees, all your employees give a shit about is getting a paycheck, right? If you have a whole ton of small businesses in America, we don't care about having insane amounts of growth every year. Would we like to have growth? Yeah, we're okay with not having growth. If I make the same amount of money this year as I made last year, I'm okay with that, right? As long as I'm able to raise my prices enough to cover the increase in expenses I have to give my employees raises, I'm okay with that. Large corporations don't want that. It's not good enough. So again, you guys have to pay for it. The taxpayer pays for all of it, so it's, we got to fix it. All right, Truth National Uncensored, Newsom is scum. I agree, man. What a fucking piece of shit that guy's. Okay, Christian, super orangish. Great name, man. I think I've seen you before. Any world person realizes Trump is a complete lowlife. I know, man. I get it, dude. I get it. Okay, I make 105 and it's barely enough. Yeah, dude, I get it, man. Truth National Uncensored, let me know what industry you're in. I'm just kind of curious. Are you in aerospace? Are you in agriculture? Are you in, what do you do, man? Okay, Jason Bio, C4P. Just paperwork and the elephant. Okay, no, what's going on there? Roshi, okay, good Christians and good Americans will always put Israel first. Okay, well, again, we've done it for a long time, right? Let's see, we are very proud of President Trump, the best president ever. Okay, well, I appreciate it. And again, if you guys are proud of Trump and you guys think that Trump is the best president ever, help us out and let us know why. Let us know what you like. I'm very curious as to what people think Trump has done that's been so great, because what we elected Trump to do, he hasn't done any of it, except give out tax cuts, so let me know and close the border, by the way. I think he's done that as well. Okay, thank you, William, for your support. I'm not American. All right, national truth, we know. I'm from Israel. Okay, great. All right, so we are, you like this, blah, 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 we know. Okay, guys, looking for good comments. Let's see. Be a good Jew and ask for your nation to follow. Okay, well, again, oh, gosh, you guys are horrible. Okay, let's see, funny how easy it is to use. Christians and Americans, MAGA Trump 28. Okay, cool. You guys just clearly love putting in your comments. Bro, you just fine and white. All right. Depending on what the people want, the voting system doesn't work as it is. Okay, this is a Jason Boo C4P. Depending on what the people want, the voting system doesn't work as well. I kind of agree with you, man. Okay, some dumb drum talking points. William says, I voted for President Trump in 2004. We will vote for Emil Rubio in 2020. Okay, William Stanford, why did you vote for Trump? And let me know what you like. What has Trump done that you guys agree with? Like, what has he done that has made him such a great president? I want to know. I don't know what you guys think. Okay, that's why half the audience left. Okay. Yeah, I know, guys. I'm way behind on fucking comments, guys. I can't keep up. It is impossible to keep up. Normally, we have moderators in here. I don't think they're in here today. That beat out all these comments, right? They just beat them all down so we get actually real good quality comments in here. We got a lot of spammers in here today. Sorry, guys. Okay. So need to be used. Wait, is a great explain. I'm telling you, my country is using them. He's okay with it. Okay. Wine. I'm not the pro genocide guy. Michael Scott says, you're the annoying guy. All right, appreciate it. Michael Scott, the guy nobody invites you. Okay, all right. Vorshi says, isn't that right? MAGA 28 Trump. All right, lots of Trump spam in here. Right, keep going with their comments. I'm looking for comments, guys. You all massive. All right, guys. I think we're going to get into talking about. Theodore Roosevelt. So I'm going to finish talking about Theodore Roosevelt because again, I don't think we've got a lot of good comments in here today. I think it's just a lot of people spamming. Okay, good. I made it through all the comments. President Trump for the Nobel Prize. He deserves. Okay, again. Tell me why Trump deserves a Nobel Prize. I'm dying to know. I don't see a reason yet, but I'd love to know. Okay, some guy sounds okay. Yeah, because you love life of simping for Israel. Blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So we don't have a lot of great comments in here today, which is too bad. So we're going to talk about Theodore Roosevelt real quick, and I want you guys to understand why Theodore Roosevelt was such a good president and why we need to bring in the. We need to bring the hammer down on large corporations and get more competition in this country. We need to kick out a lot of the third world that's in here doing the jobs you guys should be getting paid for, and we need to kick out the third world manufacturing that is giving you guys all the cheap shit that you have access to. The reason you guys get to buy a refrigerator every 2 or 3 years is because they're literally designed to fail. The reason you guys have to buy new cars all the time is because no one knows how to repair cars anymore, and cars aren't designed to be repaired anymore. They're literally designed to break apart. And again, since most people don't know how to fucking make anything or fix anything anymore, you guys have to go and buy new cars all the time. It's one of the reasons you guys have tons of debt. You always have car loans. You always have, credit card balances for things like Home Depot. You guys have fucking debt upon debt upon debt upon debt. It's because nothing is made to last, and therefore you guys have to keep buying shit. So anyway, that's what's going on here. So let's get after it. All right, Theodore Roosevelt. So Theodore Roosevelt was 26th president of the United States, and again, I like this guy. I defer to him many times. He's the guy that has the quote you guys hear, speak softly and carry a big stick, right? That's how I believe America's supposed to be, right? You guys want to come fuck with America? Great, bring it. But again, we're going to decimate you. We're not going to, slow roll our military. We're not going to talk a bunch of shit. We're going to come over there. We're going to wipe you off the map, and then we're going to come home, and we're going to go back to drinking Budweiser, okay? This is how America works. This is how Roosevelt operated, okay? Now, what are some of the things that Roosevelt did, right? So believe it or not, Roosevelt was born into a rich family, very successful New York family, and had a lot of money. And another fun fact about this guy actually got shot while he was giving a speech. Got shot, read his speech. He read the speech for 90 more minutes before he went and got medical attention. Like that, you don't talk about like a boss, man. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, Roosevelt was born in a wealthy New York family. Had a ton of money. Had a severe asthma. Had a severe asthma problem in a time when, again, there weren't a lot of remedies for that kind of stuff. So again, the guy got wildly sick, but he was successful nonetheless, right? He became a lawyer, and he became governor of New York, right? So the guy was moving up the ladder very quickly, and he ended up winning. He was elected in a landslide, right? So again, wildly popular, very successful guy up into becoming president, had all the right connections, knew all the right people, and it was just he was a lock, right? And if you want to compare it to someone like a Donald Trump, you probably could, Trump also being from New York. Okay, trust busting, right? So his major accomplishment was this trust busting thing, right? This is essentially breaking up monopolies. This is the thing that I want to talk about today. This is what the bulk of what I want to talk about today. But we're an hour into this thing, so we'll see how much I can get through. Okay, so he's the guy. He used this thing called the Sherman Antitrust Act to break up monopolies. Okay, and again, we don't seem to be able to do that today. We had Lena Khan in there. She made it difficult for things like M&A to happen, which is essentially more large companies to buy up smaller companies, right? Companies that are in distress, right? She made it hard for that to happen, which is one of the reasons that you guys didn't get a lot of innovation while Biden was in office. One of the reasons you didn't see a lot of great activity in the stock market, even though the stock market went up, you didn't see a lot of mergers and acquisitions, right? So this guy filed 44 antitrust lawsuits, right, to break up shit tons of companies, guys. This is unheard of today, okay? He dissolved what was called the Northern Securities Company, which was essentially all the railroad companies in the Northwest, right? They had a lock on everything over there. He broke them up. The other major one, which isn't listed here, was he broke up Standard Oil. And I think people kind of understand that, Standard Oil was started by John D. Rockefeller and is the thing that allowed the Rockefeller philanthropy thing to happen, right? The Rockefeller Trust Fund has lasted for, I think, something like 5 or 6 generations at this point. It's lasted a long time. Rockefeller was the wealthiest person that had ever existed. He literally won everything. He was so wealthy that the people in his companies were telling him, like, look, dude, you got to stop crushing your competition. You got to stop taking all the money, because guess what? If you don't stop winning, there's going to be no one to buy your product. No one is going to have any money. This is crazy. Like, just Google this kind of stuff. People don't understand just how wealthy and what just a destructive force John Rockefeller was. Like, it's insane how wealthy this guy got, and just how much of the capitalistic economy we had in America that this guy owned and crushed. Right? Insane what this guy was able to do. But anyway, so he was known for his trust busting, breaking up all these companies, and then allowing for the proliferation of more business, right? To allow for competition, allow for innovation, allow the economy to actually grow in the way that it was supposed to grow in a capitalistic environment. Okay, so other things this guy did, which I think everyone knows. Theodore Roosevelt was the guy that started the national parks, right? So if you've ever been to Yellowstone, you've ever been to Yosemite, you've ever been to Zion National Forest, this is the guy that made all that possible. He really wanted to invest in the country. You had way too much private ownership of land. This guy's like, fuck this. The American people need to have places to go. They need to have beautiful places to go hang out. They need to, go have places to see nature, places that are unaffected by commerce, that are unaffected by industry. And he's the guy that did that. And that was an amazing thing. It was a fantastic thing. So again, the guy, wildly successful, broke up a ton of companies, saw that the average small business owner didn't have a chance, and so he broke up those companies, started the national parks, the conservation movement, and again, wildly popular guy. Now, one thing that people don't know about Theodore Roosevelt, and I'll be shocked if there's anyone in the chat that even knows this, is one of the most important things that Theodore Roosevelt did was he created the Panama Canal. So again, we're all talking about the Strait of Hormuz, right? Everyone's talking about the Strait of Hormuz and just how amazing this thing is. And suddenly everyone's an expert on the Strait of Hormuz, and everyone understands how commerce works in the oil industry, and suddenly everyone has an opinion. The Panama Canal was massive long before that. So the Panama Canal is actually considered one of the greatest engineering feats in human history, right? So Roosevelt was the guy that made that possible. He was the guy that pushed for that. And if you guys don't understand how the Panama Canal works, so I understand this because I live on the Mississippi River. There's these things called locks, right? And so everyone thinks that the water's kind of at the same level. What you don't understand is that actually when a boat is going from one side of an area to another side of it, there's this thing called a lock, right? And there's this thing called a channel. And what happens is you actually have to raise the boats and the ships up to a certain level, or you have to lower them down to a certain level. But most of the time, you have to raise them up. So the boat comes into the canal, and then you essentially have two barriers. They then flood the barriers with water, which raises the boat up, and then it's able to travel along. This is a major engineering feat during the turn of the century where the Panama Canal was started. So he was the guy that created that, And so if you guys want to know, here's some numbers. Everyone loves numbers, okay? How many boats go through the Strait of Hormuz, right? So the Strait of Hormuz, there's like 30 to 35,000 ships go through there every year, right? It trickled down to a whole. This is why it's such a massive problem, okay? The Panama Canal sees sees about 15,000 ships go through it every year as well. So about half the commerce runs through the Panama Canal, but it's very different than the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is just a waterway that ships are able to navigate through to then get out into the big ocean, right? The way the Panama Canal works is you literally have to bring a ship into a channel or what's called a lock. They raise it up, and then the boat moves on to the next channel and the next lock, and they continue to raise and stair step these ships up so that they can then go through South America, right? It's a wild thing. It's very cool. We have one just down the way here in Alton, Illinois, and so fascinating thing. Okay. The other thing that Roosevelt did is he won the Nobel Peace Prize. So he did this because he mediated the end to the Russo-Japanese War. Okay, now Trump thinks that he's Roosevelt, right? Trump thinks that he's negotiated the end to all of these conflicts, right? He's always talking about it. Trump hasn't negotiated dick. I'm here to tell you guys, he's negotiated nothing. The guy is not a negotiator. He claims to be, but he didn't end the Israeli conflict. He did not do anything over there. They basically just they carpet bombed Gaza. There's nothing left. Israel wins, right? This is one of the ways you can win a war, guys, is just completely obliterate your opponent. And that's exactly what happened. Trump hasn't ended the Ukraine conflict. Trump has, looked at these little tiny conflicts that, again, no one even knew about, no one cares about. And he said, oh, I've ended 7 wars. Okay, he's not ended nothing. He talks about ending the India-Pakistan issue, right? You guys know about Kashmir. Okay, this has been going on forever. Trump hasn't ended that. He hasn't fucking done anything. This has been going on long before that guy was even thinking about politics. Okay, he wants to be these people. He's not any of these people. He's not Washington, right? He's not Lincoln. He's not Roosevelt. He wants to be these people so bad, except that he doesn't have any real problems. When Trump got into office, there weren't a lot of, the economy was doing just fine. Things were moving in the right direction. Trump was supposed to end conflicts. He can't do it. He has no capacity to end these things, right? He's not creating some massive, great project, like the Panama Canal. Trump has created nothing because he doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to do anything. He talks a big game, gets elected, tells everyone what he wants to do, and then when he gets in office, oh my God, this is kind of hard. Trump could go down as a great president had he kicked out all the illegals. Had he been willing to deport 10 million people in 4 years, he might have gone down as a great president because he would have done something that's actually hard. He doesn't want to do that, So okay, back to Roosevelt, right? So he actually won the Nobel Peace Prize for doing something that was actually important during his time. Okay, Trump's trying to create problems and then solve them and claim that he's this great person, So give me just a few more minutes, guys, and we'll jump back into comments. Okay. Progressive reforms, right? I talked to you guys about how he broke up a lot of companies, okay? So one of the things that he did is he created this thing called the Meat Inspection Act, right? So again, when you have large corporations and you have large entities that have control over industries, right, regulation becomes a problem, So what he did is he basically said, you know what, you guys, you got to actually give people what they're paying for, right? We have this thing called the FDA, right? So if you're going to call something a T-bone steak, well, it has to meet a certain kind of standard. So this was actually a good thing because one of the things that large corporations like to do is they like to skimp everywhere they possibly can to increase profit and reduce what it is you actually get. There was an article on X this morning about Arby's meat. They're looking into Arby's meat because apparently it's not what it used to be. There's things that are they're trying to change the definition of what meat is, So this guy understood this, created this thing called the Meat Inspection Act, which is kind of a cool thing, So other things he did, so military, right? So he built up the U.S. Navy, speak softly and carry a big stick, right? Which is kind of his moniker at this point. He did that, which again, how often does Trump talk about building up the military, building up the Navy, right? Trump is using the playbook of great men and then bastardizing it, So very, very, very frustrating, So anyway, Theodore Roosevelt transformed the presidency into a powerful bully pulpit, expanding federal authority, protecting consumers and the environment, projecting American global power, and redefining what it means to be a modern leader. His famous quote captures his philosophy: speak softly and carry a big stick. You will go far. Okay, wildly impressive president. Okay, now, we said we were going to talk about monopolies. Okay, I want to go over some businesses. I want to talk about what would happen to the economy if we actually had a government that would enforce antitrust, right? Which they're not. No president has really done it since Theodore Roosevelt. The last time we had a really big attempt at antitrust push was when you tried to break up Microsoft back in, I believe it was the 90s, if I remember correctly. Didn't really work out, unfortunately. Basically, what was happening was Microsoft was literally colluding with the manufacturers like Dell, the people who are making computers, and they were basically making them put their software on computers, right? This was a massive problem, right? Because again, you had other internet browsers like Netscape, which didn't have that ability, right? So again, because Microsoft was popular, they literally just mandated, hey, you guys want to use our software? You got to put it on your computer every time you sell a computer, right? And this was considered anti-competitive, and I believe they lost that case, if I remember correctly. I didn't go back and research it, but I'm sure someone in the chat will put it in there. So, okay. Let's dig into comments real quick, see if we got any good comments, and then we're going to jump into companies. Again, we got Google in here. We got Tyson Food, Cargill, right? This is all our meat processors. We got Delta Airlines, American Airlines. We got CVS and Walgreens, right? So companies like that. We got the different kind of Kaiser Permanente. These are health insurance companies. We're going to talk about HCA Healthcare. We're going to talk about NVIDIA, Intel. We're going to talk about Visa, MasterCard. We also have Bayer, right? Monsanto. These kind of things, the GMO companies. So a lot of things to talk about with all these companies that need to be broken up. We got companies like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, right? General Dynamics, the company I used to work for, okay? A lot of these businesses, they've gotten too big, they've got too much control over their industry, and they're actually captured, and so they got to be broken up. Okay, so let's see if we got any worthwhile comments in here. Again, I wish our moderators were in here. Okay, let's see where I'm at. Okay, here's the end. We're going to come back. Let's see, moderators aren't in here yet. Damn it, it's so frustrating. Okay, again, I do appreciate all my moderators that do come in here and help out. We may have to make a few more moderators in here to help crush this kind of stuff. Okay, so some dumb beats again, 98 seconds. So how much you make an hour, Michael? Okay, you're unhinged weirdo. Okay, can you say Trump is ahead of his time? No. Trump has forsaken his voters. Trump has, again, didn't do the things he voted on. Trump won the popular vote because, again, he said he was going to mass deport people, okay? He was willing to drag people out of their homes, drag people off the job sites, and get them the fuck out of here. He's not willing to do it. He got a little bit of pushback in Minnesota, and now, again, you read the headline. So Trump said, oh, my God, my deportation policies have gone too far, okay? Which basically means that he's not going to deport anyone, okay? He was really going after it in June of last year, but the meat processors came to him and was like, look, dude, you can't do this. If you don't allow us to hire illegal labor, then guess what? The cost of all the meat's going to go up. Well, that wouldn't be a problem if you had the thousands of farms that have been crushed and consolidated and went out of business because of companies like Cargill and Tyson and Smithfield, okay? Again, Trump has been told by his donor base that, look, the people, again, the fucking guy that is head of housing, right, is Pruitt. Is it Pruitt? Pulte, excuse me. Bill Pulte. Bill Pulte owns a fucking massive housing company, right? Companies like Lennar, companies like D.R. Horton, they've told Trump, like, look, dude, if you kick out Mexico, all these illegal people that are here, if you kick these people out, guess what? We can't build homes. Okay? The cost of homes are going to go up. And again, as a business owner, as someone who actually has to employ people, I'm here to tell you, we got lots of people to do this work. You're going to have to train them, though. And this is the problem. Business doesn't want to train people. Business is not interested in hearing about your fucking problems, your family bullshit. They're not interested in you coming to the job high. They're not interested in your fucking car problems. They're not interested in your family problems. They don't want to hear about you want a nice break room. You want, good working conditions. They don't want to hear about your daycare. They don't want to hear about your health care. They don't want to hear about your dental. They don't want to hear about jack shit. And that's what happens when you let the third world come in here and work. They don't ask those kind of questions. This is the problem in America, guys. This is the problem when you have large, massive monopolistic companies. This is what happens. These people talk to the president. They have access to the president. They have access to the politicians, and they get the rules or regulations that help them. And they do it by saying it's going to help you because you're going to get cheap shit, guys. And I'm here to tell you it's a fucking lie. And I'll say it till the day I die. I'll say it as someone who actually is a business owner that actually employs people, all right? I got 9 employees, okay? I'm not some fucking guy doing this in my garage. I'm not some guy selling you guys digital bullshit that I buy from China that I then white label and call myself a great business owner, okay? We actually have to deal with things. I actually do real manufacturing in this country, okay? I know what I'm talking about, believe me. So, yeah, Trump is not ahead of his time. Trump is just the most bought and paid for that I've seen in a long time. Okay, read an article probably from years ago, OFC, and parroted it wrong. Read it. Okay, is this so JS 1971? Let me know what I said wrong. Again, I love when people tell me wrong. I love when people challenge me, but you got to actually say it. You can't just throw in some bullshit comment in there and then like, oh my God, look at that, I told him. Like, again, you didn't tell me dick. All right, let's see. Scumdum beats 1970. Okay, that's the actual average. Prove me wrong. All right, not sure what you're saying there, dude. Okay, Grok it. Again, I love people that like to Grok. Grok is a very important tool. Google Google, again, monopolistic company is actually an advertising company. Everyone thinks that, Grok is a search company. They think, Google Maps, Google email, these kind of, which all those things are important. But at the end of the day, they're an advertising company. That's where their money comes from, is advertising. Okay, just like Amazon. Everyone thinks that Amazon money comes from Amazon Prime. No, it doesn't. Amazon's money comes from AWS, which is their web cloud services. Okay, so again, a lot of these companies that we think are one thing, they're actually making their money doing another thing. So. Okay, let's see. Dem and I agree. Biden didn't do shit. Okay, well, that's cool. Let's see. Ride the design. Wow, I just came back. Where did everyone go? Again, we got a lot of spam in here. Ride the design. A lot of people just throwing dumb shit comments in here. Normally, we have a couple of moderators that come in and they crush all this stuff, and then we're left with just the good comments. So we just got a lot of spammy comments in here, but that's fine. I'm still going to continue my conversation. I'm talking about Theodore Roosevelt. I'm talking about breaking up large corporations. Because, again, I can't talk about Epstein all the time. I can't always talk about Donald Trump all the time and the Iran conflict and, oh, my God, America's conquered. Like, it sells well for clicks, but, again, as a normal person, like, there's other shit that I'd like to talk about. And, again, I'm not the most educated guy. I'm not a historian. I'm just a normal dude. Never graduated high school, found a way to get really good at making furniture, turn it into a business, and that's where I come from. So people seem to like that kind of content, but a lot of spammers in here today, so sorry, dude. Okay, let's see, why are the people leaving? Trump ruined you. I know, Mike Cherry, 2075, I appreciate your comment, though, dude. Okay, U.S. doesn't even use it. All right, I'm not sure what they don't use. Can't wait to visit New Cuba. I know, God, that's where we're going to go. Like, after Iran now, we're going to go to Cuba. Fantastic. Okay, Jeremy Wisner, 8136, you're going to need to shut up. Do you think you're talking to children? Teddy was an ass to Americans. Okay, well, again, not everyone is perfect in every way, shape, or form, so I'm sure he was. Okay, you are nuts. He didn't. He was called Artuba. Okay, not sure what's going on there. We got all the hostages back. Okay, I guess you're talking about the Iran-Contra thing. All right, some dumb beats. Or maybe you're talking about the Israeli hostages. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there. Okay, let's see. Imagine thinking a private company gives a shit about Americans. Okay, and this is the stuff that's very frustrating, right? This is what I'm always, again, conveying in everything that I do. You need a better class of business owner, right? You need a better class of company. You need companies that actually care about their employees. There are a lot of us that really, we do pay our people well. We try and make sure that the operations that we have, our people like to work there. We try and make sure we have a great culture where it is we work, and we pay our people with real money and give them real benefits to help them. We don't give them bullshit like, fucking teachers and, extra vacation days. Like, we give them shit that really matters. We're not trying to, here you can have a nice steak dinner on us, or here we'll have a company potluck. We don't do that shit. Like, we actually take our people out. We go out for nice things. We go do nice things with our employees. We pay them real money. We give them real bonuses and stuff they can actually use. They're a better class of business owner out there. You guys just think that they're all bullshit, right? And then when I talk about this kind of stuff, saying that these large corporations, you are just a number. But again, you guys want cheap shit. So as long as you guys are beholden to cheap shit and, engineered obsolescence in everything that you buy, guess what? You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck working for bullshit employers that don't give a fuck about you, that think you're a number. And again, if you don't want to work for the wages that they want to pay, they'll bring the third world in here. And those people do that. They'll bring the H-1B visa in here, and they'll do your job. Because again, you guys aren't willing to pay more for anything. All you care about is the cheapest fucking thing you can possibly get, right? The business doesn't want to employ you, doesn't want to give you a great place to work. Again, they'll give the work to China, where they don't give a fuck about any of that. This is what you guys get, and then I hear all you guys, oh my God, we need unions. You fuckers always devolve back to unions. It's always unions. You know what? You know why you guys don't have unions anymore? Here's an unpopular truth for all you fucking people. Here's a really unpopular truth. The reason you guys don't need unions anymore, you don't see unions, is because guess what? You sent all the blue collar work out. That's why. Again, who do unions represent? You think they represent white-collar people? You fucking kidding me? Like, think it's all, the unions for engineers and aeronautical workers? Yeah, they're out there. But they generally represent blue-collar people. And guess what? You sent all the fucking work to China. You sent all the work to Vietnam. Because, again, you were told, oh, you're all going to be white-collar people. You're all going to work in an office, be an engineer. You're going to be a data analyst, But the jobs that you guys are getting now, you're fucking HR directors, your DEI coordinators. There's so many bullshit jobs out there. I wrote down a couple of them. It's like, I can't fucking believe some of the bullshit. Maybe you're a culture coordinator. That's another corporate job. You don't have any unions because, again, there's no fucking blue-collar workers. And again, when you say, well, hey, we're going to form a union, well, the company just shit cans all of you blue-collar workers and then brings the third world in here. And this is how it works. This is why you can't get any fucking unions, right? But again, the only reason you need unions if you're blue-collar is because you work for a monopoly. The reason unions were even started was because of people like Andrew Carnegie, who had a lock on the steel industry. So again, you're told to work 12, 16 hours a day in bullshit work conditions. No, they don't give a fuck about the air that you breathe, the conditions or the environment, the culture. They don't care about anything in that company. They just want you to work because, again, where else are you going to go? What are you going to do? This is why unions became popular. So again, get a better class of business owner. Have more businesses, maybe. There's a wild idea. Oh my God, the idea that maybe we go from not having so many monopolies to maybe instead of having a couple of airlines, maybe we got 100 airlines. Maybe instead of having a couple of car companies, and car companies there's actually competition there, but hey, maybe we got 50 car companies, right? Instead of having 3 big pharmaceutical companies, maybe we got 100 pharmaceutical companies, big pharmaceutical companies. Like, just pick your poison. Instead of having, I guess there's 2. There's 2 giant internet advertisers. That's Meta and that's Google. Instead of having 2, maybe we got 100, right? But what's that lead to, guys? Oh my God, that leads to lower prices. Holy shit. That leads to companies that actually can pay their employees a living wage, that actually care about their employees because, again, they need people to do their job. You want to understand how business really works? The employer understands they can't do what they do without their employees. And guess what? Their employer, if they're a small business, doesn't want to hire a shit ton of people. They want to keep the people that they have. So they pay them money. They make sure they got a good place to work. They make sure they're happy. But if you're a large corporation, you have access to the third world, or you can bring the third world in here, no one gives a fuck about you. So again, you guys can claim, oh my God, big corporations. You can claim, oh, we need fucking unions, But the truth is, like, you pushed all the jobs out, guys. Again, you were sold a lie. Go to college. I'm going to get a blue collar job. I'm going to be a manager. It's going to be great. Didn't work out so well, So anyway, don't listen to the dumb guy that never went to college. All right, all the hostages came home. Okay, I think about your comments. All right, let's look for some more good comments. Looking for good comments. This guy claims he voted for Trump 3 times. I know. Again, I go, oh my God, it's impossible that someone disagrees with the guy they voted for 3 times. It's impossible to actually have an opinion and be able to look at things objectively. Like a bunch of what's Owen Schroyer call you people, sheeple? Like, yeah, like, oh, you voted for Trump, therefore you must agree with everything that he does. Like, yeah, God, fucking idiot. Okay, but Jim Rad, I appreciate your comment. I just disagree with you. So CMCC 725. Who funded the Palestinian-Israeli war? I don't know who funded that war. My guess is America had a lot to do with it. Okay, Thomas Mohan, TDS. Yeah, I know. Clearly I got TDS, yeah. All right, Christian Medwood's in here, 852. Why did you vote for him 3 times then? Because, again, like, I agreed with what he was doing. Again, if you guys remember what Trump originally ran on, like back in, oh God, what was it, 2008? Like, the guy ran on 2008. Yeah, the guy ran on tax cuts. I believe in things like tax cuts, right? The guy ran on things like bonus depreciation, which as a business owner I really like. These are good things. He ran on. He's always been a tariff guy. He didn't implement them, but this is the stuff that he's always talked about tariffs, right? And again, he did in his second administration. Other things that Trump ran on. Again, Trump didn't foresee what happened during COVID, right? Trump didn't see what's going on there. And if you guys remember, Trump was the guy that when they told him, hey, you need to shut the economy down, Trump's like, we're not shutting the economy down. Like, Trump's instincts are amazing, but he surrounds himself with all the wrong people. And so he started believing the hype, right? And then 15 days to stop the spread became 2 years. Again, Trump was impeached multiple times. Like, this government went after him like I've never seen a government go after a president, which I liked. I liked that they were going after this guy and that he was pushing back so hard, that he was telling them to go fuck themselves. He was saying, what's that? Rosie O'Donnell looks like a pig. Like, I like that in my president. I want someone that's willing to push back. But what you're seeing now, guys, is that Trump is not doing anything that he ran on. Nothing. And again, you guys tell me what he ran on, other than the border wall and some tax cuts. What has he done that he said he was going to run on? Yeah. What has he done? Because I don't think he's done anything. So again, what he's doing now by pushing us into this conflict in the Middle East, like, he ran on the antithesis of this. And now he's trying to walk it all back. And if you guys notice that, like, people in the media, the people on X, they just, anything this guy says, they just act like he doesn't have a record. They act like the internet doesn't exist, and they just think that, we're all just dumb for not supporting him. We've all got TDS all of a sudden, And again, I'm going Democrat. Like, you got to stop this guy. He's not doing on anything that he ran on, and I would rather him be a lame duck president stuck here at home then go push war in the Middle East because he doesn't want to deal with the problems here at home. Like, I've got a major problem with that. A leader deals with the problems that are here, right? That deals with the problems that exist today. Iran wasn't a problem. It just wasn't, The real problem in the Middle East is Israel. They're the ones that create all the instability. And again, if we didn't have to deal with anything, let Israel deal with their problems. They want to go fight everyone in the Middle East, let them fight them. We got problems here at home. Trump ran on fixing things here at home, and he hasn't done any of it. Fucking nothing, so wildly frustrating. So Christian Bedwood, I appreciate your comment, dude. I'm glad you're here, man. If you guys noticed, Christian, if you guys noticed, like, we just got tons of spam in here. I don't know what's up with all the spam. If you guys are in the chat, hit the like button, add the discussion. I like to get my chats for like 50 minutes, but we just don't have a ton of great comments here today. So if I'm being completely honest, a lot of spammers. So nothing more relaxing than politics on a Sunday. I know, an original, great comment, dude. I love your comment. Okay, buy the design. All right, I keep telling him to say the other thing is stick to running. Okay, I know. Thanks, Rhythm Design. Okay, Kashmir conflict since 1946. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, that conflict's been going on since, like I said, Trump was a baby. Okay, politics is not his thing. I know. Again, I know nothing about politics. Jim Rat not taking a breath in between paragraphs, taking a minute to wait for a dead giveaway for Adderall. Okay, yeah, again, I know. I love drugs. Okay, I think MAGA stands on anything. I don't think MAGA stands on anything but Trump. Yeah, I agree. Again, it's not the movement is more important than the man. But Trump thinks that anything that he wants to do is the movement. I don't think that that's true at all. But whatever. Okay, can you imagine this poor wife has to listen to at night? Yeah, I know, man. Okay, all right, let's see if we got any more good comments. Let's see, you guys are proud of President Trump, a pro-American president. Yeah, I don't know how Trump's pro-American, dude. Like, I don't understand it. Okay, the real question is what happens if you cut your Adderall? Okay, blah, blah. Looking for workouts. Salina girls in there. Salina, good to see you. TR responsible for Wilson, responsible for World War I, responsible for World War II. Theodore Roosevelt responsible for Wilson. Wilson responsible for World War I, responsible for. Yeah, I read something about that. And again, yes, I did read the same thing. I don't know the history leading up to World War I, so I honestly can't talk about it. Like I said, I've done a ton of research on World War II, but again, I'm just a dumb furniture maker, But I can't even comment on it, Slina Girl. So again, clearly you know something there, and we're just gonna have to take your word for it. So, all right, Mike Cherry 2075. No, we're not. All right, blah blah blah. So we have our President Trump, and will if he need to. Okay, cool. Handle your scandal, man. Great name, dude. Okay, I love this conversation. When's the last time you hunkered down on another man's unit? All right, great comment there. Okay, you don't have to leave the country. Why do you leave the country if you're so miserable? It makes us sick that you went to Iraq to defend this idiot. Yeah, I know. Again, great. Fantastic. Okay, I have no moderators in here because you verbally wear them out. Yeah, I know. Again, that's actually not the case. But okay, we might just have to end the cast day. Again, you guys are in the stream. Okay, again, we end up with all these spammy comments. Everyone just, again, it doesn't work. Okay, war is God's way of teaching Americans geography. Well, that's actually a great comment, Christian. I probably agree with you. Okay, let's go towards the end. Let's see what we got here. Some good comments. Okay, more potatoes, please. Man, great name. Okay, Jim Rad, I think we were protected through the Iran Accord, and one Trump shut down and gave them the chance to refine more weapons grade. All right, not sure what you're saying there. Pakistan, India also have nukes. Seems like it's been fine. I know this is one of the things. Like, again, you give everyone nukes, and my guess is the world probably shuts up pretty quick. But whatever, man. Again, if you don't have a nuke, guess what? Everyone comes and fucks with you. That's really what it boils down to. So I'm mad. I voted for the man 3 times. He's doing a great job. Is he perfect? Of course he isn't. No president is, but I'm telling him over Sleepy Joe. And okay, again, Jim Rat, what do you like? Like, again, you can never get people to articulate what they like. Because it means you got to put it out there. Like, do you like that he hasn't mass deported people? Do you like that the tax cuts aren't really helping you as a citizen, right? Do you like the fact that the border's closed, which is a good thing, right? Do you like the fact that his tariffs are bullshit and they're not really working? Do you like the fact that he tariffed you guys, caused the prices of everything to go up, right, supposedly, right? And then me, the guy that actually sells a product to you, gets the check. Like, I'm going to get a refund. Like, do you like that? Do you think that that's worked? Like, what is it that you think Trump should do, right? What do you like? Do you think that it's good that we're over in the Middle East, right? Do you think that it's good that he hasn't ended any wars? Like, what is it that you like? Because I don't see the same thing as a Trump voter. I want to know what you think works, okay? All right, even handle himself on this point. He said it a lot, but it doesn't matter. Okay, all right, Jim Rat, more. I think that I understand that you're saying the problem is something you sort of deal with. All right, is they'll never obey anything. They're always going to do what they want to do. And again, this is one of the things, again, Trump talked all about sovereignty, right? doesn't care about sovereignty in Venezuela, doesn't care about sovereignty in Cuba, clearly doesn't care about sovereignty in Iran. So, I mean, what part of sovereignty are we going to allow Trump to be consistent? Or are we just going to let him do whatever he wants to do, and we're just blindly going to follow this guy? Is it the blind leading the blind? Is that where we're at? So, all right. So again, Jim Rat, tell me what you like. You like the fact that Trump isn't for a bomb? Is that what you're saying? Like, give us something. Like, dude, like, again, like your comments are so pointless. Like, you're going nowhere. You're adding nothing to the conversation. This thing, it drives me crazy. This is where we need the moderators. A lot of you guys just throw a comment out there. You got no substance to anything you're saying. You've got no facts. You've got no points to talk back and forth with. You just make a comment and it's like, oh my God, burn. Like, this is one of the problems with the YouTube live stream platform. If you don't have moderators, you get all these limp dick comments in here. They go nowhere. They mean nothing, So Mike Cherry says, talk Canada. Yeah, I don't need to talk Canada. What are we going to talk about Canada? I mean, what do you want to talk about Canada? Okay. Shipman said Kim Jong-un is pretty happy. Yeah, and again, this is one of the things. Like, again, hard to fuck with a country when they have nukes. Like, do you guys hear about North Korea? Trying to bomb their neighbors? Is North Korea trying to go after South Korea? Is North Korea giving aid and comfort to the enemy? Like, no, they're just doing their own thing, and we don't fuck with them because they got nukes, right? Again, look at what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, right? You want to know why Iran might want, or Iran might want, a nuke? Again, Trump says, oh my God, you got to give up power. You got to give up your missiles. You got to give up everything. Okay, well, what happened to Gaddafi? You guys remember that great picture of that pole being stuck up his ass? Giving up nukes isn't a good idea, and it doesn't seem to work out well for people, But if you already got them, you can stand on your soapbox and say, oh, no more nukes, no nuclear proliferation, blah, blah. Again, it's inconsistent at best. So, okay, all right, exactly. Let me guess, you're going to vote for either AOC or Gavin. Oh my God. And there you go, Jim Wright. Again, Jim Wright, you got nothing. You're just another one of these lip dick commenters on YouTube. You're probably one of these people on X that just again, let me post my stupid comment that has no facts in it. No way for anyone to go back and forth with you other than to comment on some stupid innocuous comment they're making. So good on you, dude. You're getting my attention because again, we don't have a lot of great comments here today. So why not? Let's go at it, dude. Like, give me something. Tell me what's so great about Trump. Tell me as a Trump voter, you voted for Trump 3 times. Tell me what you're supporting. What has he done for you that he ran on? Okay. Give me something, man. You got nothing. Like, you're just, again, complete limp dick guy. It's just disgusting. And again, gym rat, what do you like? You like do a lot of bench pressing. You do a lot of looking at chicks' asses in the gym. Are you one of these guys? You a gym bro? You drink your protein shake all day, and your fucking nasty shits and dirty farts. Like, you one of these guys, What do you go work construction and then go to the gym for 4 hours when you go home and masturbate to YouPorn because people find you to be repulsive and retarded? Like, are you one of those people? I'm very curious. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you're speaking. Anyone else is typing, spending $15 a month on a landline and open a phone line. Again, what are you saying there? Yeah, you're speaking. Everyone else is typing. Spend $15 a month on a landline and open it. Again, I'm not sure what you're saying there, dude. Okay, are you afraid to talk tariffs in Canada? Okay, tariffs in Canada. Okay, Mike Cherry, cool. Yeah, let's talk tariffs. That's cool. Yeah, that's great. Okay, fantastic. Like, someone actually wants to talk about something. Okay. Mike Cherry, again, if you guys are in the stream, we're going to talk tariffs on Canada. Because again, clearly people just want to make, goofball comments. So let's, now we're going to move over to tariffs on Canada. Because again, I used to live in the Pacific Northwest. I know all about the timber industry. It's literally, I'm in the furniture industry. I buy plywood, I buy hardwoods all the time. So yeah, I'm ready to talk about that. Okay, so you got good coffee. All right, appreciate it. Dilemma from Christmas Story. Yep, we got the Christmas Story lamp in here. Okay, saying you should allow people to call in and debate. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Again, guys, I love your comment there. I would like to do that, and I would love to go back and forth with people. I have all the software. I have everything to do that, but I'm very new to this, right? So I've been at this for 45 days. The channel has blown up, which is great. I love it, but I'm still learning how to do things. So give me time. The way you guys might not know this, but the way that the YouTube algorithm works is doing live streams on a camera goes out to a shit ton of people, lots of people, right? One of the reasons you guys see a lot of people doing videos on YouTube is because it doesn't work in the live form chat. Like, what I like to do is I like to chat back and forth with people on here because I want to go back and forth with people in real time. I want you guys to see there's a real person having real comments, making real points, and it's very difficult to do when you're making videos. And the call-in system would work but it would take a long time to build up using my camera, right? I got a Canon camera right here. It would take a long time to build that up, and I'm willing to do it. I think I'll get there, but it means I have to do the camera content, which is horizontal, and I have to do this every day, which is vertical, to keep the channel moving. So it takes a lot of extra work, but I think it would be a great thing. Eventually I'll probably get into doing that, but it's going to take some time. So, but I appreciate the comment. Okay, Mike Cherry says I'm here. All right, let's dig into Mike. Stick into Mike Cherry 2075. Okay, so Mike, I'll start out the conversation and we'll talk about, because again, I'm a tariff guy, right? So if you guys know when I talk about tariffs, the thing I talk about with tariffs is I talk about you need to have a 400% tariff. And I use this as kind of a blanket statement because I want people to understand that it needs to be significant, very significant. I want a 400% tariff on anything that's manufactured in the third world or in any other country, right? So would that apply to Canada? Yes, that would apply to Canada, okay? Now, what I also say, which people often forget, is that I say all materials that come into this country, no tariff. Because again, America wants, even though we have most of what we need to make stuff, that eventually goes away, so it's not sustainable. So you got to be able to bring materials into this country. So yes, we want to bring in materials. We could even bring in refined materials. But the point is that we do not manufacture, because the truth is that most Americans were average. Most Americans are wages, right? Most Americans are people that are going to end up working 9 to 5. They're not going to be business creators. They're not going to be great intellectual thinkers. They're not going to be managers. They're not going to be salaried workers, and that's okay. It's not a dig on anyone. It's just the reality. It's the rule of averages, okay? Again, I'm super average, right? I beat the average in many ways, but I was the average guy for 20 years, okay? Now, a lot of other people can't do that, but you still need resources, right? You need jobs for people. And the truth is, most people are really good at making shit. They're good at working with their hands. They're good at doing repetitive stuff, okay? Now, as it pertains to Canada, aside from oil, the number one commodity that we bring into America from Canada are timber products. So this would be things like hardwoods, softwoods, and plywoods, right? They're classified differently. They're actually classified as timber products, right? So there's different ways to classify all these individual products. And Mike, let me get my spiel out here, and you can go back and forth with me. So because Canada is so close to us, right? It's a neighbor, right? It's a brother from another mother. So I used to live in the Pacific Northwest, right? So going to Vancouver was super easy, right? But the tariffs to produce goods in Canada are not any cheaper currently than they are to produce things in America. Okay? What you guys have to understand about Canada is Canada has a very high minimum wage. Canada has a very high cost of living. Canada has to pay their people a lot of money to make their products. It's very expensive to make things in Canada, just as expensive it is to make things here in America, right? So Canada could actually benefit from having the same type of tariff situation. But I don't know the employment situation in Canada. I don't know if Canada employs a lot of its people. I don't know if there is a push to employ people in Canada. I know that Canada brings a lot of third worlders in there. I know that Canada has a lot of H-1B visa workers that come in there to do all kinds of work. I don't know your guys' employment situation very well. But as it pertains to forestry products, softwood, hardwoods, and plywoods, again, we should have 0% on the forestry products that we bring in from Canada, right, for our housing industry, for our furniture industry. We should have 0% on plywoods, right, which you could say is technically not just a material, right? It's a produced material, right? You know, you got to take layers of veneer, layers of things like MDF, skin it, put it all together with epoxy, and flat press it to create sheet goods, right? So I think that all that stuff should come into America, duty-free, tariff-free, whatever you want to call it. But anything that's made in Canada, things like sandpapers. Canada makes a lot of sandpaper, right? I buy a shit ton of sandpaper in my company. We get a lot of papers from Norton, right? Norton is a company up in Canada. We buy a ton of their sandpapers. Again, that shit should have a 400% tariff on it. And again, what that tariff should actually be, I don't know. But whatever the fucking 7%, 12%, whatever that bullshit is doesn't work. Because again, we should be buying sandpapers from American businesses if we can, right? 3M, which makes the greatest sandpaper as far as I'm concerned, should be made here in America. Right now, I think it's made in Poland, and I think they make some sandpaper in Canada as well, if I'm not mistaken. You know. So anyway, Mike Cherry, we'll start the conversation out with that. And again, it looks like you're putting in comments there, which I appreciate. That's kind of my stance as it pertains to Canada, right? Again, making things in Canada is not any cheaper than making it here in America. So the prices between each other, we're pretty much unaffected. Okay, moving things between our states shouldn't cost a ton of money, but there absolutely should be a tariff on the manufacturing because you have to protect the people that need to work in your country. You can't just forsake them, put them all on UBI, welfare. You can't just give them the bullshit jobs at Amazon, the bullshit jobs being DoorDash or Instacart or these kind of jobs that lead nowhere, that don't lead to generationally teaching people how to do shit. We left that to the colleges, right? Oh, my kid's going to have it better than I had because he's going to go to college and not be a woodworker. Well, that hasn't worked out so well. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, Mike, I appreciate you throwing your comment out. Let's go, man. Let's see what you got. I'm going to go back and see what your comments are. All right, hold on. So Mike says I'm here. All right, which is lots. Okay, Mike, let's see what you got. Here we go, man. And again, you guys want to have a real conversation, put a real comment in there. I'm not going to waste my time with all you guys' fluff bullshit. If you're not willing to put in real, if you're one of these people that supports Donald Trump and you voted for him 3 times, if you're one of these limp dick guys that just has a comment, like tell me what you support. Tell me why he's such a good president. You can't just say because he's great, because Trump is white, because Trump, supports the military-industrial complex. Like, give me something, not just your bullshit comment. Okay, Mike Cherry says Canada also gives 80 to 90% of oil. No, and Mike, and again, I'm the guy that talks oil more than anything, right? Oil is a material, right? You might say a refined material. This is one of those things. Again, you don't need tariffs on that shit. We get 50% of all the oil that comes into America comes from Canada, right? I talk about this all the time. Like, I completely understand what is so great about Canada. As it pertains to oil. Again, most people that are in the stream right now, they think that we get our fucking oil from the Middle East, right? Which is, again, another reason to stabilize the Middle East. They believe this bullshit that stabilizing the Middle East means something today. It doesn't. America uses 20 million barrels of oil a day. We produce 13 million of it right here in America. And guess what? It's going up every day. We get 50% of the oil we import from Canada, which is awesome. We get 10% of our oil comes from Mexico, right? So a lot of the oil that we get actually comes from our neighbors. It doesn't even come from the Middle East anymore. This isn't 1979, guys. OPEC can't, cut off the oil supply and drive the fucking the price of oil up anymore. But again, you cut off the Strait of Hormuz, and it's a whole different discussion. So, Mike, you're 100% right, man. Okay, more Mike Cherry. We give you hydro, water, gas, oil. Again, you're describing everything I'm talking about, Mike. I'm talking about all the resources, right? This is the thing that America needs. We need resources. We have 350 million people, dude. Like, this is a lot of people. Canada doesn't have shit. You guys don't have any fucking people. Like, you're not America when it comes to people. Yet, you have probably one of the most resource-rich parts of the world that exists today, right? You guys are massively resource-rich. You just need people. You need people. You need industry. You need more industry so that people have an incentive to come there, right? You need to incentivize having people. But again, no one can afford anything in Canada. The cost of everything's wildly expensive. You guys have universal health care, right? Again, but from what I understand, it takes a long time to go see a doctor. Maybe I'm wrong, but you guys need more people. You need to fix this stuff. You need to get the government out of this thing. You need more competition up there. But anyway, we can go into that. Mike, I appreciate your throwing your stuff in there. Okay, so we give you hydro, water, gas. Again, everything you're talking about, dude, is 0% tariff. You're not talking about the thing that I'm talking about. So bring the conversation back to tariffs. Mike Cherry, with the flip of the switch, you lose water, oil, hydro. Again, like Mike, pay attention. Okay, pay attention. Okay, we're not talking about any of that stuff because again, these are the things that you do not tariff. These are the things that we're talking specifically about manufactured products, right? Things that are, i.e., made and or assembled in the third world, right? Or in another country. Could be Canada. Mostly I'm talking about China, Vietnam, but it would also apply to Canada, right? Now, if you wanted to change the strategy and you wanted to reduce tariffs on manufactured goods because it makes sense to have things manufactured in Canada because it's good for the American consumer and Americans still have access to good, high-paying jobs, I'm okay with that. But that is not the situation that we have today. So, all right. Again, you're talking about flipping a switch, So, maybe I'm behind in comments. Let's keep going. 80% oil, 6% water. We don't need people. Okay. All right. Build nuclear power plants. Man, that's a great comment. I agree with you that. Okay, Mike, keep going with Mike here. Okay, you are wrong. Okay, Mike, tell me what I'm wrong about. Okay, it seems like you said that I'm wrong about, hold on, let me make sure I get your comment right, dude. Hold on, guys. We go back and forth with, okay, and there's one of Jim Rat's fucking retarded comments. Oil is the lifeblood of our economy. It's like, dude, fucking put some information there, you fucking limp dick. All right, 80%. We don't need people. Okay, so Mike Cherry, you're saying that you don't need people, okay? This is not what I understand. I know a whole bunch of people that are literally moved to Canada so they can get a visa, right? And then they hang out in Canada until they can get their visa approved to come into America because most of the people that are coming into Canada by way of visa are doing it so that they don't have to hang out in their shithole countries and they can live in a place that is relatively modern and nice, waiting to do it here in America because they want to do it the legal way. So from what I understand, you guys do need people. One of the reasons you're importing so many people. So again, I could be wrong, but you're actually saying something there. So again, tell me where I'm wrong, man. Okay, you're wrong. Blah blah blah. Keep going on to Mike. Keep going on to Mike. So you Google what Canada does for you and see where I stand. Okay, Mike, you're not adding anything useful to the conversation. You're basically making my point. Zero tariffs on anything that's a resource or refined, anything that's a material, right, or a refined material. 0% tariff. You said you wanted to talk about tariffs. You're not giving me anything about tariffs. What do you want to talk about with tariffs? You're just telling me you can turn the switch off by turning our oil off. Okay, great. I'm not disagreeing with you. And again, I don't think that there should be tariffs on oil. I don't think that there should be tariffs on rare earths. Because again, these are resources, dude, or these are refined resources. I'm talking about giving average people average jobs, which unfortunately is manufacturing. The thing that built this country is the thing that we kicked out for college, right? Because we're going to create more smart people, more educated people, and we're finding out that those jobs don't pay dick. We need to bring that work back to America. And again, when I try and talk to you guys as a business owner and how growth works, again, if you're a mega corporation, you got tons of shareholders, all you give a fuck about is growth. All you want is number go up, right? So that you can pay dividends to your shareholders, right? This is literally how it works. Small business doesn't operate that way. We're completely okay with 2007 being just as good as 2006. We don't have to give all of our money to C-suite executives, managers, and shareholders. We can give our money to our employees by way of bonuses. We can pay a living wage so that people can actually buy homes and cars and real shit. Okay? We got to fix that. That's the thing we got to fix, Mike. It's not getting tariffs down so that we could do more commerce with Canada for the shit that we don't already have tariffs on. Like the tariff policy that we got to get rid of is, again, letting China make things for nothing, and then American businesses bringing that stuff back to America and then marketing it up 10 times and selling to you guys at a price that you can't even afford today. Like, do you guys see how this is how corporations mint money, guys? It's a broken system. It needs to get fixed. Anyway, so okay, Mike. Well, apparently I'm not going to get you in here. You're not going to go back and forth with me. You just want me to do all the work. Okay. Let's see. It says Yummer758, yeah, they spend half as much in healthcare and they live longer. Okay, well, that's cool. Who spends half as much on healthcare and they live longer? Are we still talking about Canada? Because again, I think you're probably right. America spends the most on everything and we get the fucking worst result from it. Because again, when we let the government get involved in everything, there is nothing that the federal government has gotten involved in that has actually produced a better result for all Americans. It'll always be better for a specific class of people, but it generally comes at the cost to somebody else. Very rare is the government able to come in and actually do something that's good for the country. Very rare, But again, you're probably right. If you're talking about healthcare, I agree with you, man. Okay, Mark. Okay, again, Canada don't need freedom. They're Canadian. Canadians don't need freedom. They're Canadian. Okay, well, again, I think Canadians probably pretty free there. Okay, Okay, and again, there's Limp Dick Jim Rat. This guy's wrong on so many different fronts. I don't even know where to start. Again, you could start by telling me. Again, but your bitch ass, you can't. Again, you got nothing, dude. You're fucking retarded. You're one of these guys that just goes at these gym bros that, again, like all you do is just look at hot chicks that you think you want to fuck that you'll never even go up and talk to because you're such a soy bitch. You don't have any confidence. You just sitting above, doing bench presses all day, dreaming about all the fucking success you're gonna have while you do nothing with your life. You go to fucking, you're like a contract worker on the job, you go dig fucking holes, making your $24 an hour, and then you go to the gym, make sure you got your first form energy drink, you look all tough with your gym bag, and again, you got nothing, dude. You're fucking like borderline retarded, man. But again, I appreciate all the comments, man. I appreciate you participating in the conversation. All right, let's see, we got more stuff here. Okay, cool. Mike's back in here. All right, Mike, let's keep going, man. Again, Mike, like I said, I'm one of these dudes. I love information. I'm absolutely happy to have people push back against me, and I will have a dialogue with you. But you got to put points in there, man. You got to disagree with me or agree with me or give me something that I can interact with. Okay, Google what Canada does for you, and you'll say, okay, I don't need to Google, Mike. You need to tell me. You need to tell everyone in the chat. We don't all need to go do the work. You need to do the work. Okay, we have brought in almost $77 billion in new trade. Okay, cool. Well, what kind of trade is that? Let me know. Where's the trade coming from? Are you guys getting it from China? Are you getting it from Singapore? Are you getting it from Europe? Are you getting it from America? Let us know where you're getting that trade from. That's cool. All right, which regulation's killing businesses? All right, so some done beats. Okay, this is great. So, and again, Mike, I want to keep, hold on. We're going to keep going with Mike. See if Mike said, I believe you lost a bunch of companies that came. I believe you lost a bunch of companies that came to Canada. Okay, good. Tell me what the companies are, Mike, because again, I buy a lot of sandpaper that comes from Canada. Canada seems to be a great maker of sandpaper. Again, we get all of our oil from you guys. Again, Canada's a great country. I love Canada. You guys got the best skiing that there is. You know, you ever Whistler, it's amazing. I don't. Again, I'm talking about foreign manufacturing, right? Things like making cars, making, whatever, toys, making washing machines, making, whatever you want to talk about, making Keurigs, making all this kind of shit. All this shit, guys, is made in China at the expense of the American worker. They trap you guys by saying, oh my God, your Keurig, instead of being $99, is going to be $185 if you have to make it here in America. But you guys don't understand is that then an American gets a living wage. An American gets a job that actually is valuable. Instead of having to go work for Amazon, instead of having to go work for Instacart, instead of having to go work at a restaurant. Again, as a guy who actually hires people that are not super employable, right? What happens is, guys, they go get 6, 7, 8, 9 jobs in a year. They'll have a dozen jobs in 2 years because, again, they don't know how to work. They've never been taught how to operate in a real company that does real work. And every time they're told to step up and do more and learn this or learn that, they don't want to do it because they've never seen it. They don't know what it's like. And again, when you send all the work to the third world that would do that, and then you put all those people on welfare because you don't want to employ them because you can bring the third world in here, you don't work out the country, guys. And that's what we got to do. We got to work out the country. And not all people want to do it. So anyway, guys, I'm giving you guys plenty of time today. Mike Cherry, let's see. I'm going to go through your comments because, again, you've actually participated early. Coke. So Coca-Cola, that's funny because I was just at Coca-Cola's private jet hangar here a couple of years ago and in Atlanta, Georgia, where they actually live. And Coca-Cola has about 5 private jets there. I went and worked on one of their Gulfstreams. They also have a private jet hangar over on the East Coast in California. So I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Are you saying that they went to Canada? That's great. Let me hop on the old. Let's grok it right now. Let's see where Coke's headquartered. Where is Coke headquartered? I could be completely wrong. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. All right. Let's see what Coca-Cola is. Did Coca-Cola leave? The headquarters of Coca-Cola Company, commonly referred to, is located in Atlanta, Georgia. So I don't know what you're talking about. Again, Coca-Cola manufactures Coke literally in every country on the planet. It's the most widely used product around the world is Coca-Cola. And this is why Coca-Cola is such a great company. This is why they can buy 8 private jets here in America. And again, I've been to headquarters. I went and worked on them. I know what the fuck I'm talking about, Mike. So I don't know what you're talking about, dude. If you want to say that they move bottling from America up to Canada, maybe, but that's not how their business model works. Their business model literally works by having production done at the source. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Again, but again, I could be way wrong. So, okay, bro is talking and not changing anything. All right, addict, stop talking. All right, Mike, go back to Mike. Coke now sends Intel's pop to Canada to be put in cans because of the aluminum. Okay, that I think you're probably right there. Again, I think you're probably right. Maybe it is cheaper to get the aluminum from Canada as opposed to here, right? It's probably because of our regulations, very difficult to produce aluminum in America. And again, I live in Alton, right? So if you guys go Google Alton Steel, you'll find out that Alton used to produce aluminum, right? And they used to produce things like steel. And again, very difficult to do in the state of Illinois. There's too many regulations. They can't compete with all the larger corporations, so they went out of business. So my guess is that it is cheaper to do it in Canada. So I'm sure they have done some of the work up there. But again, Coke has always been headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. It will always be headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. And all that money comes back to Coca-Cola, which you're making my case. So what you're talking about is manufacturing Coke cans in Canada, right? If there was a 400% tariff on manufacturing those cans in Canada, guess where they'd still be made? They'd still be made here in America. And everyone would say, oh my God, well, then you'll spend more for Coke. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Coca-Cola shouldn't be drank by everyone. Coca-Cola should not be accepted by EBT. Coca-Cola is, again, it's a poison, like for the most part. Drink it every now and again. Don't drink it, instead of water. But that's what we have here in America, So anyway, Mike, you're making my point more. Again, you could have more manufacturing of aluminum cans here if, again, you just tariff the rest of the world. Is it more expensive to do here? Yep, but guess what? We're the richest country in the world, and all the people want to sell things into America. This is again, Americans spend 30 to 50% more than the rest of the world for almost everything, and we buy more of it. So everyone wants to be here in America. The market's the most important thing. All right, Mike Cherry, and if it's canned here because of aluminum. Yeah, and I think you're right, dude. You're right. I think we get most of our, not most, we get a lot of our aluminum from Canada, right? We don't even have the fucking power here. We're putting power in this country for AI data centers instead of smelters, right? Which I don't know why, but that's what we're spending our money on. That's what we're spending our resource on. Okay, yes, that is the reason. All right, Mike says, yeah, I believe that. I have the same members. The same members mark sweatshirt. Yeah, right. That's Costco. I buy all my clothes. I'm cheap. I'm one of those guys. So, okay, guys, I think I'm gonna get out of here. Again, I don't see a ton of great comments here today. It's just again no moderators here today, which is too bad. There's Coke Bottle plant a mile from my home in Ohio. Yeah, fantastic. And again, this is where we make. Again, this is how I've worked on Coke's jets for years. I've worked on Pepsi's jets for years. I've been to both places. Again, whatever, you guys can believe whatever you want. So anyway, guys, you have a great weekend, and we'll do this again on Monday. Hopefully, hopefully we don't go start World War III. And good luck with voting for Donald Trump. You know, again, get you guys say whatever you want about me. I do most of these talks in the morning. We do an hour or two most mornings to talk about a current event. Also, if you guys want to run a business, you want to know how a furniture company runs, you want to know how a paint company runs, you want to learn how to make furniture, how to paint furniture, how to work with aluminum. I got that content on my channel as well, and that's what I do on most of my streams and most of my feeds. You know, so you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll do it again later. So bye.